What is going on, people? We have been beaten 2-1 at home to Leicester City in the Premier League relegation dogfight. 6-pointer. We are hurtling towards relegation, people. We are hurtling towards relegation. That is the reality of the situation. We are absolutely on our knees. We're losing games every single week. And Leicester, a team who have lost 7 games in a row, have just come to our ground and beaten us 2-1 in an utterly toothless display from Spurs. I'm here with Amir. I mean, it is absolute embarrassment from Tottenham to be beaten by a team sitting in, well, we're sitting in 19th. They're now 3 points closer to us in the relegation dogfight. I mean, these defeats are getting harder and harder to take week on week. We've lost back-to-back games to Everton and Leicester. Leicester, who have scored 2 goals in their last 7 games, have gone here and scored 2 at the Tottenham Stadium. They've conceded at least 2 goals in their last 7 games in every single game. They've kept us to 1 goal here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We are now 26 days into the transfer window and only 1 signing, which has been a goalkeeper, when we know we are desperate for outfield signings. We didn't even name a full bench today. We had 8 players on our bench, and we can name 9 because we are so out on our feet when it comes to players being injured. We have no players available. We have a manager at the moment who is running out of ideas as to how to cobble together a team that can even beat a side who are 19th in the table. We have players who are completely out on their feet, running themselves into the ground, unable to change things on the pitch, lacking ideas. We are making mistakes after mistakes on the pitch throughout the whole game. We got away with it in the first half, and then second half, it absolutely cost us. We were 1-0 up, and within 5 minutes of that second half, we're 2-1 down. And Leicester didn't have to do anything. Just all they had to do was run down the clock for 40 minutes, and Tottenham had no answer to it. We're playing 3 teenagers. We're playing a 17-year-old and 2 18-year-olds in the middle for 40 minutes of that 40 minutes of that half, with absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Leicester are one of the worst teams we've seen in the Premier League this season, have come here and beaten us 2-1. It's getting tiring, man. It is getting tiring. I've backed this manager. I still want him to succeed. I still think he can succeed. But I said after the Everton game, it's a struggle to see, first of all, this injury situation changing in time for him to change it. And is he going to make it to that other side where we start to get players back? Because at the moment, we're just hurtling down the table faster than a brick in a river. We're hurtling down the table as a guy in quicksand. It's getting fast. It's getting dangerous. At the moment, we are still 8 points clear of the relegation zone. So that's, when it comes to a relegation battle, that is something to take away. But the problem is, when you're capable of losing at home to a team like Leicester, there isn't any result you're not capable of at the moment.
Exactly. And you know what it is, Sim? It's not just a manner in where we lost that 2-1. We just gifted Leicester opportunities to get back in the game. We just gifted them the ball in the middle of the park, giving the ball away. It's just, overall, it's just not good enough all around. And I'm looking at everyone here. I'm not just looking at the players, because it's obviously a lot of it's on them. I'm looking at Ange, a lot of it's on him. But out of everyone, it's more on Levy, the board, and what they're doing to this club, because they've ripped the soul from it. They've built a business empire on top of what was a football club. They prioritise making money over the success of our football team, and it costs us time and time again, season after season. This is not the first January window we have not seen players come through the door. This is not the first manager we have seen come in and go out after 18 months and not manage to do anything. It's been a revolving door for the last 24 years of this ownership, and I'm just sick to death of it. And you know what, to be perfectly honest, I could have stayed at home today, not watched Tottenham, and I probably would have had a happier day, to be perfectly honest with you, spending some time with my niece and nephew. I'm sick to death of what they've turned this club into, Sim. And, you know, people will point the fingers. They'll point for Ange. We'll go through players. We'll single out a few poor performances. But it goes way deeper than all of that. It goes way, way deeper than all of that. We were in a mess way before Ange was here. And it's not just, a few poor performances in the team that lost us this game. There is something at the core of Tottenham Hotspur that is completely rotten. And until we deal with that, I don't know where we go from here, mate, to be perfectly honest with you.
In terms of the game, obviously, first half, it was not great, but we got ourselves in the lead through Richarlison with a header, and we had other chances through Son, who forced the keeper into the save. And we probably were the better team in the first half, and probably deservedly, I think, going to half-time 1-0 up, albeit even in that first half there were times making silly mistakes, sloppy errors in the middle of the park, which Leicester failed to capitalise on. And albeit we obviously had the better of the chances in that first half, and we did go in 1-0 up, and second half just couldn't have started more disastrously. Literally within a minute they make it 1-1. Porro giving the ball away, then caught out in his position on the right hand side, decoyed over Reed across the face of goal, and Jamie Vardy's there to tap it home and makes it 1-1.
But here's the thing, Sim. Doing the same thing time and time again and expecting something to change, that's the definition of insanity. And it's the same thing that we're doing time after time. You go back to the derby. We lost the ball in the middle of the park, boom, it's 2-1. We lose the ball, Porro loses the ball in the middle of the park, boom, it's 1-1. Why do we keep doing this? Why do the players not learn? I don't understand. The basics of football, right, is defending and attacking. We do the attacking part well, but we have no idea how to defend a lead. How many games have we been 1-0 up, or even sometimes 2-0 up, and we let teams back in it? I can't understand it. I don't understand. And all we need to do is be professional for 90 plus minutes, 90 plus 7 plus 10 plus whatever. Why can we not do that? Why can other teams do that? I don't understand. I'm honestly, I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss, Sim. And I really don't know where we go from here. And I know there's going to be a lot of fans calling for Ange's head. And I completely get that. I understand that. There's going to be some people that want to keep Ange in and say we need to back him. And I get that. But I think either of those options, I still don't feel confident taking either of those options. Because where do we go from here? We've got 13 players out injured. Probably another 2-3 from this game. And we're sitting, 16th, 15th in the league. 8 points off relegation. Battling for our place in the Premier League.
It's a disgrace.
It's a disgrace.
It's an absolute disgrace where where we are in the league and the position that we're in. It's an absolute farce. It's farcical that we've managed to put ourselves in a position where we are losing week in, week out. We have needed players since before the window even opened. This isn't a shock to anyone. This isn't a surprise to anyone. We have been having this amount of injuries, over double-digit injuries for over 2 months in a row.
Yep.
These players can't cope with it. These players can't... it's too difficult for them to keep churning out performances and results when we've got this level of injuries. But the problem is we're losing games week in, week out. We knew on Thursday, you saw what a massive effort the players put in to get that result. You saw at the end of the game, they're completely on their feet. And then we come to this game week, and he didn't have any players to change it. In fact, we lost more players because Maddison somehow is left out, and he is unavailable for this game. So the situation is worsening week in, week out. And as much as I believe Ange can turn it around if given the situation, I don't know if he's going to be afforded that time or that situation. Maybe he shouldn't, and maybe he shouldn't be afforded that time. If he can't problem solve against a home side, against a team like Leicester, then there's big questions that has to be asked about whether he should be the manager to lead us through this current situation. Big questions. I'm not saying Ange out, because I even after, again, I've been very consistent on my opinion that I don't see the overall situation changing until the situation with the players change. And in fact, it's gone worse. So how can I sit here and say I expect the results to change when the situation hasn't changed and it's gone worse? But we are playing a Leicester team who are even in worse form than us. And when they're coming to our ground and actually fancying their chances, that's got to be serious concern. Serious concern.
Every team fancies their chances against us. Even Tamworth fancied their chances against us. and almost beat us in the 92nd minute there with a last-minute chance they had. So, it's just... It goes way deeper than Ange and the players, Sim. It goes way, way deeper than that. Why have players not come through the door in the last 20-odd days? Why have we not seen any reinforcements?
And you know how people say, are these players still playing for the manager? At what point do we ask the question, are these players still playing for the club? Are these players still playing for the board?
I don't think half of them are, mate.
Because we've heard enough players now, Son, Romero, Decky, make statements or make comments about the board and about how they're not doing enough.
Yeah.
And maybe, you can say, are they playing for the manager? Maybe they've lost hope that this club is going to go in any sort of direction, not because of the manager, but because of how we're run at the top.
Maybe they're all planning their exit as well. Maybe they're all, looking at their next chapter, their next... I don't know, but something is clearly wrong at Tottenham Hotspurs. And it needs it's like a disease that needs to be taken care of, chopped off at root. And I think when you're looking at that root of our problems, it all comes down to our ownership and Levy. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. They are the ones responsible for hiring, firing and bringing people through the door. They're responsible for sacking Jose. They're responsible for sacking Poch when they did. They're responsible for how Conte left this club. And they're responsible for the situation we're in because they're the ones that brought Ange Postecoglou in and gave him the tools that we currently have.
We're literally in a situation where we're relying on a 17-year-old winger to come on and save the day.
It's crazy.
We're relying on two 18-year-olds in the centre of our midfield to get us through a game, a Premier League game of football.
We've played an 18-year-old out of position for the last 3 months.
Literally.
It's crazy. It's crazy. No other big side does this. We're not a big side. Again, we don't aim to be a big side. We don't aim. We have no ambition.
You saw what City have done this window.
Yeah.
They were in a mess. Bam! Put the money down.
But Mido told you to sign him last year.
Put the money down.
Mido, the Egyptian who knows Egyptian football, told Spurs to sign Marmoush last season. What did we do? Did we listen? No. Of course not. Because Levy and the ownership know better. Lenik know better. They know.
Look what happened. Yeah, look what happened yesterday. Man City get some signings and bam, they win the game 3-1, and they're going to turn their situation around.
Of course they do.
But we have to wait for the best deals. We have to wait for all the money off. We have to wait, and in that meantime, the situation gets worse and worse. The injury crisis gets deeper and deeper. And said specifically in this press conference, if we don't bring anyone in, we are playing with fire.
There you go.
We are playing with fire, and I don't think he just means from a playing point of view. In terms of more players might get injured, I think he means we are playing with fire, that we are hurtling towards this relegation fire. If we do not get these players some help, they are dying out there. They are sinking without a trace. They need help.
Kulu and some of the other lads, they literally need 3 weeks off to just recover from what they've been through, and yet they're playing every minute. It's a joke. It's honestly, and I don't know how they can sit there in the stadium, watch that, and feel okay with themselves. I don't understand. I really don't get it, Sim.
Help them, for God's sake. It is no secret. This isn't a surprise. Since November, we've known that we have needed to act quickly in this window.
Yep.
And the reality is now, even if we do get a signing or two at the end of this window,
it's too little, too late.
It's too little, too late. The damage is done. What are they going to bed in before the Liverpool game? Are they going to be ready to go and start straight away? They need time to bed in. They need time to create relationships with the players. This had to happen at the beginning of the month. Otherwise, there's no point. This is an absolute farcical situation. And they might well throw the manager under the bus and sack him. And maybe he deserves to be sacked with the results he's getting. I'm not sitting here and saying that the manager can't be doing better. I'm sure he can. But at the end of the day, a new manager's going to come in. We're still going to have 14 injuries. Yep. And they're going to be asked to do the impossible and turn our form around with that level of injuries. Yep. With the tired squad. With no help for these players. Yep. So whether a manager is here or not, the situation will not change, in my opinion. And I'm just tired at the moment. I am tired of this football club and what's going on. I'm trying to hope that it can turn around when we start getting players back and all these different things, but it just doesn't seem to be happening. It's getting the opposite direction. We are getting more and more players injured by the week. These players are running on empty, and they're running on even less as the games go on. Yeah. I can't sit there today and say they didn't try. I can see they tried. I can. They were trying. They were running. They were running their socks off, but it's not enough. We don't have enough in this team right now. I think that's clear. I think that's clear when you're watching them on the pitch. I'm seeing them run their socks off. I'm seeing them press. I'm seeing them try and force the issue, but it's just not enough. They need help. And if it's not, I mean, Levy and Lange and Munn, why are you there watching the game? Get some deals done. Why are you at the game?
I swear, what are they doing?
Don't watch the game.
What are those mugs
watch it on
doing?
your phone.
What are those mugs
Get on
doing?
a private jet.
What are they doing?
Get some deals done.
What are they doing?
Why are you watching the game? Take some calls.
He's too busy. He's too busy planning his next hotel. That's why.
If Paratici was there, he'll be on the phone during the game.
He's gone, hasn't he? He's left.
He'll be on the phone during the game, getting deals done,
It's a joke.
making things happen.
It's a joke.
I'm just sick of what's going on at this club right now. I mean, every day we're doing transfer updates and all this bullshit where nothing's happening. Lange is working in the shadows. What shadows? It's like he's working so quietly, it's like we're not even going to notice that signings have been made. Nothing's happening. Lange, this is your job, right? To find players to help us when we're in dire situation. This is your job and you are failing. There is no two ways about it. You are failing at your job if you can't get players to help us in this current situation. This is the most desperate I've ever seen a team in need of signings. No team has ever been more desperate than this situation. And you can't get a single deal done when we need it. Get to work, man. You're sitting there with Scott Munn, hoping that these players can continually somehow get some performances with what's going on at the moment. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It's beyond
no
a travesty.
Outfield signings.
Zero.
For a month, nearly.
It's beyond a travesty, Sim. Honestly, it's I don't know what they're playing at, to be honest with you. And I think the writing's on the wall for Ange, to be honest with you, Sim.
I wouldn't be surprised if he goes after this. I wouldn't be surprised. But we are so close to that semi-final. I don't think he gives that to another manager. I just don't. We're literally a week away from it.
He sacked Mourinho before a cup final.
I know, but I think he got so much backlash for that. I don't think he's going to want to do that again. I can't see him doing it again. He might well do. But I think he keeps with it again. I don't think he does sack him, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does after this result, because we've just lost back-to-back games to teams in the relegation zone or in the relegation fight. And if you can't even beat these teams, then, you know, what? I mean, if these are the teams you can't beat, who can you beat right now?
Where would we be if we are? Do you know what? Forget about it. I can't anymore. Sim. It's too painful to even think about where we're at the moment.
All right, well, that is your instant match reaction, guys. Let us know in the comment section below what you think of the current situation. Let's get into some super chats. Have I got them here? They've haven't come through for some reason. Let me see if I can get them up. One sec. Seems as though the thing has stopped coming through. Oh no, is it just come in? One sec.
I mean, all we needed to do was show a bit of professionalism in that second half, and we threw the game away like we've thrown so many others away this season.
I'll just have to read them out. All right, super chats. HTFC Sika says, Foxes own you. I mean, fucking Vardy does, that's for sure. He scores every bloody game against us, Jamie Vardy. And I'm seeing him on the bench taking the piss at the end of that game. Man. Blake says, Sim the Waffler, get out Levy and Son, top to bottom. We are a shambles. Sonny, the worst captain I've seen, shrinks every time the game gets too tough. I mean,
I think it's harsh.
I think it's harsh, but I mean, after a game like that, and you know, with some of the defeats we've had, I get the frustration.
Yeah, I get it too.
Michael Helmer says, "Let's not lose our heads, lads. While we're being disrespected by every level of this organisation, we don't owe anything to the club. I've given my life to this club. and they're just spitting in our faces.
Yep.
Arik Denim says 14 managers and this cycle will continue. Happens as long as Levy is in charge. The protests aren't enough. We need to stop giving money to this club. Yeah, I think we need to start these protests again, man.
Yep.
These guys don't know, just don't have the best interest of the football side.
It needs to be on a
moment.
mass scale, Sim. For anything to happen properly, it can't be like tens and hundreds. It needs to be thousands of Spurs fans. That's what it needs to be to apply full pressure, because they don't feel it. Until it's thousands, they don't feel the pressure. They just sit back, relax, and rinse and repeat every 18 months.
Day Kim says both goals came up with our 8 up the pitch. Why are we building up with just our centre-backs and DM, leaving us exposed when we give the ball away and exposed? I mean, we got exposed. I mean, Porro he had just shocking start to that second half.
It's a good point, though. This is the thing, Sim, to show some defensive stability. Sometimes you need players to drop back a little bit and provide that little bit of extra security. Whereas we do the complete opposite of that, and we leave 2 centre-backs at the back. Everything's completely open. One ball in over the top or a couple of good passes, and you're in. It's Bob's your uncle. It's the simplest thing to do, is to play against Tottenham Hotspur. And we telegraph. This is one thing. I like Ange as a person, but in terms of management, right, I think he telegraphs every single game. Because you know how we're going to play. You know exactly what we're going to do. And you can set up then your team to counteract that. And the one time he did try to change it up in all fairness was the Everton, and we still lost. It's just, I don't know where we go from here. I really don't.
Arik Denim says, stop buying merch, stop going to matches. The club doesn't care about you. Stop giving them your money. And we have the highest ticket prices in the Premier League, and we sit 15th in the league. 5th bloody 10th. And we got the highest prices. What are we paying for, guys? What the hell are we paying for?
You're paying for that shiny new stadium that looks like a UFO's landed in Tottenham.
It's going to be shiny in the Championship soon if we're not careful.
Yeah, it will. You're right.
Felix Foss says the club needs to take accountability at this point. Ange tactics, players injured, all add to it. Where is the vision? Kolo Muani was never the answer. We need strong signings, winners experience. The missing textures. Delhi Tacoma was the mood excitement we've had this window. We need to panic buy, man. We just need numbers. We've got no numbers at the moment. 0 numbers. Hugh felt at this point it's war against everyone. Let's protest. CCM28 says, don't worry, guys. Ange won the J League. He's truly different source. Maybe if we invert our seed centre backs too, we might win. Yeah. All right. Well, now it's you guys' chance to have your say. Have we got anyone joining?
Let me put a link in.
You know, you have to Zoom.
Yeah, I can't connect the camera to Zoom for some reason. It's not connected.
Okay. All right. Well,
You can do it with audio, but I can put they won't be able to see you. But
you can't connect the camera to Zoom. Shock. The Trub tries to confiscate Time for Change banner in the South Stand. Wow. Apparently the stewards tried to take down the banner.
Arseholes.
Look, there's a video of it.
I mean, it's not the stewards. It's who's directing the stewards to do that. They're the arseholes, not the stewards themselves. They're just doing their job.
Bastards.
Right.
Let us we have a voice.
Exactly.
You know, you can't just avoid that.
If they're gonna try and take our voice away, it's crazy. Honestly, everything that's going on at this club, it's utter madness. And do you know what? This is the thing, though, Sim. It's been going on for years. It's not like it's new news to anybody. It's the same old thing. Didn't he sack Martin Yo at half time or whatever? Yeah, who was one of my favourite managers growing up. You know, did us well, getting us into semi-finals of Europa League. Again, someone who wasn't back properly and was done dirty. I'm just sick. I'm sick to death of it. And then you know what? I see other owners acting proper. I see Bloom over at Brighton, how they love him. I see the Forest guy, Mavropanos, the way he's shaking players' hands coming out the tunnel. And then I see Levy, Lange and Munn sat there watching what they saw, not doing anything about the situation.
Ange quotes after the game, talking to Sky Sports, he said, it hurts a lot. The players gave everything. We are going to look at a lot of things, but in terms of effort, I can't ask any more of this group. Things just didn't go our way today. We created some good opportunities, and unfortunately things didn't drop for us because not because the players weren't trying. That's the main thing. The players are giving everything they can. That's all we can ask for as a football club, and me as a manager, they're trying their hardest, and that is all anyone can ask for. You can analyse the goals. They were disappointing goals for us to concede, but I thought we had enough chances in the game to come out on top. When you're in the situation, they're trying as hard as they can, and sometimes that doesn't give you the clarity in decision making. You can ask is for people to do as much as they can, and from my perspective, I see a group of players that are giving as much as they can, and I know it will turn. We'll get some players back. We were short again today, but in the next couple of weeks, there's some really important players coming back that I know will help the group. We've not hit a ceiling. We've been going like this for 2 months, and they put an enormous performance on Thursday to make sure we're okay in Europe. And they had to back it up today, but there were probably at least 2 or 3 players that weren't 100%. I'm a football manager, and I get judged on the results, and that is the way of the world. Well, if you're getting judged on your results, then you're not going to last much longer. That's the truth.
No.
As much as I love you, and I think you can be a good manager for us. Apparently it was the loudest leave you out chants anyone's ever heard at the stadium today. That's what we're hearing. Dr. Tottenham. Anytime.
I shouldn't have uttered his name before the game, should I? Maybe it's my fault. Jinxed us before we even started.
God. God. All right. What's the situation?
1 minute.
Samuel Lynch says, I think I've lost it. Years of supporting this team and nothing to show for it. I think Levy's an Arsenal fan. I've lost it with the team and this chairman. We may well get relegated. Brian Daigle on the train and can't wait to come on. Mate, if I was you, I don't know if I'd want to talk about this game.
Mate,
but
like I said, I would have rather stayed home, Sim, and that's not. I would have loved your company today, Sim. We could have gone out, had a nice coffee, or get a bite to eat. Anything but watch that. Anything but watch that, Sim. Because it's just it's like a dagger to the heart that you think you can build on what you've done on Hoffenheim. Fantastic performance. You can build on it. You can salvage something. You've got Leicester at home. You're 1-0 ahead as well. It's not that it's 0-0. You're 1-0 ahead. You're halfway towards 3 points, and you just let it slip. And it's not even from there. Like, it's not a beautiful bit of play. It's not a magnificent shot from 30 yards in the top corner. You say, okay, well done, Leicester. It's us giving them the ball, giving the ball away, giving them opportunities, saying, here you go on, it's Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Go and take the 3 points home to Leicester. It's a travesty. It's a travesty. It's shocking. Absolutely shocking, Tottenham Hotspurs.
all right. Why you're all blaming Levy when Ange is the one who decided to play Lancashire for 3 minutes, keep Porro on despite him playing a 2 out of 10. He easily could have taken him out, moved Gray to right back, clueless. Brian Daigle, I won't be talking about the game as we're no longer a football club. I'm going to be talking about the wanker that has killed this club. All right. Is Zoom not working?
Nah, she's rendezvous.
Okay. When Spence and the doggy is back, play Porro on the wing.
I've been saying that for the last year. Porro's not a defender. He's a winger. Like Bale started off as a left back. Slowly move forward. I think Porro should be moving
Cuddles for
forward as
life.
well.
Chelsea fan here. We're rivals, but I do like Ange. After today's got to go. In my opinion, you cannot lose to Leicester, no matter how many players are out. What's George? Why has George added me? Link not working. Yeah, we're trying to get a new link out there, guys, so you can have your say. We tried to do a Zoom integration, but it doesn't look like it's working. So we're going back to Rendezvous. Apologies, guys. Ange on the booze for taking off his striker. Rishi was feeling his groin. He had to come off. I should have taken him off at half time, and he wasn't running out. And he wasn't running out. I don't know what that means.
Maybe he's going to overdo it.
He said Sarr shouldn't have played today, but he wanted to help.
He looked terrible. Yeah, he didn't look like he should be on the pitch, Sarr. Wasn't his normal self. I don't know how those three, it's dumb and dumber over there. Levy, Lange and Munn. What have they done for the last 25 days to help this team?
Nothing.
Nothing. Literally nothing, Sim. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. It's like seeing one... You know what it's like, Sim, yeah? It's like seeing one of your loved ones who's just slipped up, fallen on the floor, and they need a helping hand up, and you just stand there, watch them crawling, getting their way up to their feet.
God.
That's what they're doing.
I really hope Rishi's not injured. God.
But it wouldn't... Would it surprise you if another 2 or 3 went down from this game? It wouldn't. And they're still sat there in the stadium, not doing anything, not bringing anyone through the door, leaving Ange out for the Wolves like that. It's a disgrace. I'm sick to death of it. I'm sick to death of it. We need new owners.
All right, shall we start? Can't hear anything. Apparently they were loud boos and Richie went off. But what do you expect him to do?
Yeah, no, you can't.
What do you want him to do?
He took the risk with VDV and Romero. We know how that one worked out.
Damned if he doesn't in this situation. He needs help.
Exactly, it's way bigger than Ange. It's way bigger than Ange.
All right, let's get some people on. Who's Rico? Let's get Rico on. Hey, Rico.
How's it going, guys? All right?
Not great, to be honest.
Better.
It's been a lot better.
Been a lot better.
Absolute shit show today, Rico. Losing to 19th place Leicester. Where do you sit with the whole situation, Rico?
It's a situation that's not getting any better anytime soon, is it?
No.
No.
We're seeing the same shit. Getting boring now. You know, it's non-stop. We're getting battered left, right, and centre from every single team. No help from the board. There's no. It's ridiculous, you know. Like you've just been saying, Amir, as well. We're now. What is it? The 26th today. I'm losing days.
Yeah.
Zero reinforcements in outfield. These players are dead on their feet. They need. What's the club doing? The club's employed these guys to go out and look for players, but we don't look for players, do we? We look for opportunities. We look to try and hijack cheap deals from teams below us. And let's be real, teams below us is going from that to that now. There's no one coming to us. We're absolutely out on our feet. These players are shattered. Ange, could he be doing better with these players? I think so. You know, some of the substitutions today I don't agree with. You know, you're chasing a game even though we shouldn't have been. Lackluster defending has caused us yet to be chasing another game. And where do we sit? I'll tell you what, let's bring on Regulon. Let's put Gray further up the field, which a lot of people have been calling for, let's be honest, for a long time now. You saw what he done, I think it was the 70th minute, when he managed to wriggle his way through and whip the ball across the box. No one was there.
Yep.
But he was shattered. Richie could have been there, but he was shattered. All of these players that are coming back from injury, we're rushing them back, and it's not going to do anyone any good. And the root of the problem, as it always has been and always will be, is Daniel Levy, this board, and this recruitment team. It's shocking.
I think you're spot on there, Rico. You hit the nail on the head. It's just so frustrating to see yet another manager thrown under the bus and yet another window just absolutely wasted. And you see, like Sim was saying about City, they went out, they got their guy, boom, they're winning games again. They're looking better. Why do we act like a small club? Why do we act like we don't have money? I don't get it.
I think it's like I said. I mean, there's a hotel going in. Tell me, there's only so many things that can't be coincidence.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, I forgot, Rico. You're right. You're 100% right. There's other things in our portfolio which are much more lucrative than the football club, of course. Yeah, sorry, I forgot.
It's embarrassing now. It's the Spurs social media team not being able to read a room. This window, what have they done? They've put out social media posts on X, which all they are is announcing Eubank Ben boxing match. We've got who is it? We've got coming to as a Rolling Stones, is it?
Oh, I thought it was 50 Cent, but maybe there's another one I haven't heard of.
I don't know. I've got a clue. All it is concerts pushing the company not as a football team and as an entertainment business, which is how Daniel Levy and the board see it, to line their back pockets. They don't give. Oh my God, watch what I say now. They don't give a damn about the fans. They don't give a damn about the team. And if they did, they would have turned around and said, I tell you what, let's give Ange, whoever the manager is, let's give this team some help on the pitch. And they never, ever, ever seem to do. We left ourselves short in the summer. And I tell you another thing that makes me really sick is the fact that Ange come out in press conferences for weeks before, when you had the likes of Ali Gold and all these other reporters coming in, and they were asking, what's your plans for January? Lange is Johan's working really, really hard. We've got a plan in place. We're going to assess the squad at the time. Well, what have you done? What have you done in that time? You've assessed the squad at the start of the window, and it's got worse as the window's gone on, and you've done nothing to help. This plan that you talk about is non-existent. It doesn't exist in my mind. It's just blowing smoke up the wrong people's where.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Fables.
What is your then opinion on the manager and what Spurs should do and what they will do? Where do you stand on that?
Speaking the last couple of weeks within the Tottenham community, I was very much in line with you, Sim, for a long time, and I wouldn't say very much Anjo, but I'm definitely Anjo. I understand the players that he's got. No manager's going to come in and turn it around. I get that point, and I don't want to keep redoing this cycle over and over and over again. I don't want to do that. But unfortunately, now we're in a position where it seems the only thing that's going to be able to get us out of this is the players coming back, game-changing signings coming in, or a new manager bounce. And what do you think the most easiest and lucrative thing is for Daniel Levy to do? Get a new manager bouncing with things through. Suddenly players want to start playing for him, not saying that players aren't, but players are going to start stepping up, and then we're going to be in a position where you can say, right, new manager bounce, let's come in and get ourselves a couple of points at the table. I don't agree with it. What I think the club will do, I think the club will generally give him until the Liverpool game. All we can do is fingers crossed for that, because if we go anywhere near the performance today, we are not making it through. Let's be real, we're not making it through in the performance today or late.
All right, Rico, appreciate your call, mate. Thanks for coming in and giving your time. We'll see you very soon.
All the best, Rico. Try and forget about Spurs until next week.
I'll try to, mate.
Try to, mate. Enjoy your week. Take care, Rico.
Villa 1-0 up against West Ham, I'm seeing. Samuel Lynch with another super chat. Credit to the effort of the players, especially the young guys, giving their all in a tough situation. Most important, big up you guys, the backbone of Spurs. We go again next game. Come on, you Spurs. Love the channel. Appreciate it. Don't really see much positivity at the moment. George wants his link not working, lads. I really want to get on. Well, people seem to be getting on now, so it should be working.
He's pressing the wrong link, probably.
Yeah, we've moved back to Rendezvous, so that's probably why it's not working. Let's get Stel. Are we getting Stel on net? Who's coming on next?
Stelios.
Stel. All right, let's get him on. Hey, Stel. Is that a Man United shirt you're wearing? What are you wearing? I can't say. It's a bit pixelated, so I can't tell. It looks like a Man United. Now, what is it?
This is my football club that I ran for 12 years.
Right.
GFA.
I thought you defected for a minute.
I'm on the brink, Sim. I'm on the brink of defecting. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm on the absolute brink.
We're all on the brink at the moment still.
Yeah. What can I say that I haven't been saying for the last 6 months on social media and YouTube channels? And what's the most frustrating thing for me about today's game? It's the fact that still fans want to defend Ange. And Sim, I don't know where you are now. I've only just tuned in, but surely now you can see this manager has to go. Surely.
Nope.
See, yeah, I'm going to say something you're not going to like. I'll be respectful though, because we're buddies in that. You are the problem, Sim. You are facilitating what's going wrong at Spurs.
I don't make any of the decisions.
No, but you allow this to continue because what's happening is, Sim, look, I'm going to say it. I'm going to be to the point. There are too many fans like you in the stadium, online, on YouTube channels, on podcasts that are protecting this manager and stopping us from removing him as a fan base. Because if we wanted Ange out, we would go full throttle, Ange out, Levy out, and then the change will happen. We're going to get relegated, Sim, like this. You're defending a manager that's going to relegate us.
I think there's look, I've been through it a million times, but I think the situation is what it is at the moment. I think, obviously, we're playing Leicester today, and look, after today, obviously, as I said last week, in the current situation, I think I'm struggling. He's struggling to kind of maneuver this situation. I don't think Ange is a manager for a relegation battle, and if that's what we're going to get dragged into, then he might have to leave 100%. But I also acknowledge, and I see the context of we've got 13 injuries at the moment. We've had to play 3 teenagers for majority of that game today, and we're running on empty. We're playing all these players because I think 8 of the players who had to play on Thursday. What did you say?
Sim, these are excuses. I'm sorry. Bournemouth have got 9 injuries. Bournemouth.
Yeah, but they're in a different situation. First of all, that's a different situation. They're not playing 3 games a week. Their players who have been injured are not as crucial as the players that we've got injured. And we've had it for 2 months. They've had it for like 1 or 2 weeks, this level of injuries. We've literally consistently had these injuries for 3.
They're missing 3 starting players. And our manager, he said, and so many fans said at the start of this season, this squad, they never said this team, they said this squad gets top 4. Everyone knew that we were going to play 2-3 games a week. Everyone knew we were fighting in different competitions. But no one knew we were going to
have 13 injuries, though. 13 injuries.
Of the 16 players that Ange has signed, only a small percentage of those are injured, right? He has got the majority of the players that he signed playing, right? Today, why is he not starting Reggie at left back? Why is he starting Archie Gray at left back when we know, 1 minute, on Thursday, we know Reggie can't play? Why isn't he resting him?
I thought Gray played quite well today. I thought Gray played quite well today, I thought.
1 down or 2, or when we were 1-1 or 2-1 down?
I thought throughout the game, I didn't think Gray was the problem starting him.
Why not start Reggie? No, look, you're missing my point. The point is, Gray now has to play again midweek because we can't rest him because Reggie's not in the European squad. So rather than playing Reggie, who's actually a left back, and then saying, do you know what? Let's not play him every single game because he'll get injured eventually. He plays him there. Why are we inverting the fullback so high up? Leicester got in down the flanks time after time after time again. Why can't we just drop the wing backs and say, Let's just be a little bit more pragmatic. Why must we allow Leicester chances? Sim, this Leicester team hasn't won in God knows how long.
Yeah, I understand that.
These are the manager's tactics. He takes off Richarlison. Why not bring on Lancashire, who, guess what, is a striker? You can't blame this on injuries. I don't get it.
I understand those criticisms. I don't wholly disagree with a lot of what you're saying, especially like maybe the changes he could have made. Could he have brought Lancashire on earlier? For sure. I don't know why he didn't bring on Lancashire. That we were crossing the ball into the box and there was no real presence in there. We saw Richarlison could do what's it called in the first half when we were crossing balls in there, and when we had no presence in there, we really struggled to really hurt Leicester. And obviously we only gave Lancashire a few minutes, and I completely get that, and I understand. I'm not saying that's why we lost the game, per se, but I understand those are criticisms you can have of Ange, and I share those criticisms. I'm not necessarily. I think when it comes to the tactical stuff, I do think he's been making tweaks and things like that. I actually do think we've been a bit more pragmatic in recent weeks than we have usually been. Not necessarily to change much, but we have. I think, in my opinion, whether it's by design or being forced back, I think that is what's happened over the last few weeks. I think you've seen the position of the fullbacks is a lot deeper than it has been at the beginning of the season, and that is fact. There are definitely changes there that I've seen, but I think when you're in this run, you're this cycle of playing every 3 days with this amount of injuries every single week and no let up. In fact, it's getting worse. From Thursday, we lost Maddison. Spence wasn't even available from last week as well. We had Sarr, who Andrews admitted after the game today that probably shouldn't have played today, but he really wanted to help and he really wanted to try and save the situation, but he had to play because we had another injury. And so he came into the team. We've just got so many problems to maneuver right now. And I've said for months,
him.
Okay, but you can say
Listen,
he definitely has
he's created this. His training methods and his gung-ho, always playing fifth gear, has caused half of these injuries. I agree that injuries to Bentancur, injuries to Vicario, things like that, I don't blame Ange. But these are the injuries that happen to all clubs. So many of our injuries come down to Ange's training and to his inability to rotate. Whose decision was it to not put Regan Spence in the Europa Cup squad? That's on Ange. So, when we say, but injuries are an excuse, he has caused half of these injuries, and the record also happened at Celtic. So we know there's evidence to prove that Ange, he runs players into the ground. And what do we do? Rather than saying this manager is causing the problem, we're saying, but we've got injuries. He's causing it. We had injuries last season. We fell off the cliff as well. Do you remember?
But still,
last season was different. Anyway, go on.
No, this is the thing, right? With the injuries, you're spot on that half the injuries are on him. Half are not. You know, the Solanke, your Vicarios, your Bentancurs aren't him.
I agree.
Yeah, but all the ones that are muscle injuries and the VDV and Romero situation, that's bordering on negligence, right? Those decisions to play those two in that game and get them injured. Richie coming back on and getting re-injured. He's making his own bad luck. My thing is whether you're Ange in or whether you're Ange out, we've had all these the root cause of the problems at our club lie way deeper than the manager still. So it doesn't make a difference if Ange goes now or not and who we bring through that door. When you have owners and you have Levy sitting at the top of your club wanting to milk it for everything that it's worth, take its value away from being a football club. When I started supporting this team in the 90s, we didn't have a multimedia, we didn't have a F1 track, we didn't have concerts, we didn't have Beyonce, and yeah, we weren't great, but I was at least happy to be a fan. Now I'm disillusioned with everything that's going on at Tottenham Hotspurs. So I can't see how aiming everything at Ange and giving these guys, Levy and Lewis and Enoch, a free pass will get us anywhere. I just don't. I don't get how changing managers will help.
Right. Let me separate the two issues because I don't disagree with you at all. Right. The reason I want Ange out is because I don't think he's good enough at this level, and I've seen more than enough to know he doesn't cut it. The last 12 games we've played, I'm going to compare us to the other teams in that so-called relegation bubble. Crystal Palace have got 20 points, West Ham 15, Man United and Everton both 14 points, Brentford 14, Wolves 10, Ipswich 8, Leicester 7. Guess who's at the bottom? Spurs and Southampton, 4 and 2 points. We are in a relegation battle. Be under no illusion. And what Sim said earlier is spot on. He's not the manager for a scrap. He's not a manager to roll up your sleeves. We got to get dirty. He's a manager that's entertaining. It's who we are, mate. Right? That doesn't work for the situation we're in now. That works at the start.
That I don't disagree with. That I don't disagree with. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we can meet halfway. Where we are now, if we want to survive, forget winning. If we want to survive, he's got to go, because he's going to drag us deeper. Because he's only playing one way. He won't do what is needed, because I don't think he's ever been in a situation to know what to do. Regarding leaving Inikamia, listen, I've protested for 4 or 5 years. I was on the front line with Brian Daigle, Ryan Isaacs, Graham, Iggy, everyone. I've been to the Hotspur way on transfer deadline day, trying to support the boys. I've done my bit. I've built a channel that is almost based on Levy out, right? I have banged that drum, and I've always said, change the manager, it won't change, as long as these owners are here. I agree with you on that. However, it's all good and well fans saying the problem's Levy, the problem's Enoch, they're to blame. It's all good and well everyone saying that. But if we don't take action, and I mean either boycott, stage a walkout, mass scale protests, the entire stadium chanting Levy out for 10 minutes non-stop, stop buying merch from the shop, then nothing will change. So if fans are Levy out, Enoch out, or they blame the board, and it's not Ange who they want to blame, then either take action, or please don't take it this the wrong way, either take action or shut up. Because all you're doing is making noise and complaining, and that's not going to get us anywhere. There's two separate issues here. I think another manager does a better job with the tools that are currently here, especially in a relegation battle. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, no manager is going to be successful. They'll do better, as in get us higher up the table, maybe top 4, but they won't win trophies under this ownership. But then that's on the fans now to say, right, after 25 years of this, 3 decades of this ownership, we have to stand up and do something. Either force them out by making their position untenable and making it so wretched they don't want to turn up to work, or force them into wanting to change their behaviour and start signing quality instead of quantity. And that means manager and players. And unfortunately, Amir, our fans don't want to do it. Look, there was some good Levy out chants today. There was a big sized banner in there at the front of the South Stand.
Apparently they tried to take it down.
Of course, because, and Sim, that proves they're rattled.
They are.
The more we do that, and the more fans that do that, the more the club will be backs against the wall. So we as fans, including your channel, my channel, his channel, their channel, that podcast, this Twitter account, that Facebook group, we've all got to say, right, we must stand up against this now, because if not, guys, we are going to get relegated. Imagine.
Stel, can I ask you, in terms of managers, I know you'll probably say Iraola or Silva or all these managers who, are doing very well at the moment. But let's say they don't want to come here mid-season into this mess. They're very happy at their clubs and they're not going to push for a move, and Tottenham aren't prepared to pay their release clauses or whatever. Let's say you're faced with a decision. Either you stick with Ange or you go with Mason until the end of the season. What are you choosing?
Personally, if that's the only option we've got, then I would go with Ryan Mason. And I can't believe I'm saying that. I can't believe that I've just said that. But ideally, and I'm being realistic now, forget my fantasies and dreams of Spurs and what they would do, I would go and get Harry Redknapp and say, Harry, 5 months, keep us up. Get someone that can manage the situation. Or go and get a manager that can fight a relegation battle just to keep us up.
Till you go Sean Dyche, something like that.
Shit, Spurs, fuck my life.
Firefighter.
Look. When you're in a rut, guys. When you're in a rut, what you need to do in a rut is cut the rut, and the only way you cut a rut, something has to change, something, and in this case, it has to be Ange. He's not got what it takes for a relegation battle. He doesn't.
So I understand.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying, and I agree. Something has to change. So for me, my ideal would be either the change would be we get a load of players back, so we actually have options, or we start to make signings. Now, at the moment, those two things are not happening, right? And if those are going to continue to not happen, then I think he might have to go, because I agree. I don't think he's a manager for a relegation battle. Now, let's talk with facts. Right now we're 8 points still outside the relegation zone after today, because Leicester were actually 10 points behind us. So I think we're still 8 points clear of Wolves. We are a week away. Potentially, we've seen Romero and Van der Ven back on the pitch training. We're hoping to, Basuma was on the bench today. Hopefully, I don't know. I know Maddison dropped out, but apparently the reports are he'll be back next week. We are on the precipice, I'm hoping, of having some options and having players back into this squad. And maybe in the last week of the window, we might get a signing or two. If by next week these players are available and maybe we have a signing, do you not think there's any chance that our form might change?
No, because what's going to happen is, and I said this was going to happen, is for every player that comes back, another one gets injured.
Yep.
We're hoping that suddenly 7 players all come back and no one else gets injured. The current situation is, look, we lost Maddison today, we lost Spence today, right? We're still losing. So Richarlison comes back, Solanke goes. Bentancur comes back, Maddison goes. So no, Sim, I don't think we're going to get what you think. And regarding signings, who in their right mind wants to sign for Spurs that is of any quality?
But doesn't that go for the managers as well, still? Doesn't that go for the managers as well? Because you've seen Jose been sacked, Poch been sacked, Conte been sacked, being unsuccessful. Now Ange, Stellini, Mason.
Yeah, but that's why I just said. Yeah, but that's why I just said, putting my dreams to one side, realistically, you bring in a manager just to stable the ship, just to put some freaking common sense and seriousness back into the circus that we've become.
So you just bring in Harry for 5 months?
I think it's one solution. If there's another manager that other people think that can do that, then I'm on board with it.
If in a miracle situation,
no illusion, guys, we're in free fall. I think fans are dismissing it. I think fans are pretending it's not happening.
Mate, after Everton, I realised we're in a relegation fight. People are saying, nah, we're not too big to get. I said, after Everton, we are in a relegation battle. What if in a miracle situation, we could get Thomas Frank through the door next week and he'll come in? Would you take that?
100%.
Yeah.
No doubt. Listen, If you look at the fixtures coming up for Spurs, right? If you look at the fixtures coming up, forget the cups. I'm just talking about the league. We've got Brentford away, who just beat Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park, and
fantastic team,
especially at home, right?
Yep.
Then we've got Man United, which is another 6-point relegation battle. Ipswich away, Bournemouth, Fulham, Chelsea, Man City. Guys, I said this is the only game I thought maybe we could get something from. If we can't beat Leicester at home, where are we getting points from? And this isn't me being fear-mongering or drama queen behaviour. I'm being serious. Out of all the relegation teams, and I repeat, Spurs and Southampton are bottom. Out of 12 games, which is 26 points, Southampton have picked up 2 and Spurs have picked up 4. Leicester and Ipswich are in better form than Spurs. Something has to change. Sim, buddy, we're not going to sign any players of any worth. It's not happening. And we're certainly not going to get the amount of players back that maybe you hope we're going to get without further, damage to the existing squad. So something has to change. And I look at Ange, he looks broken. He looks like lost. He doesn't know what to do with this situation, because if you look at his entire history as a manager, he's never, ever been in this situation. Never. And he was brought in to entertain and play gung ho football. This isn't a gung ho situation, guys. Forget me not wanting Ange at the club. Forget all the times I've called in and said, get him out, get him out. Just on a relegation fight perspective, he has to go. And I think he might actually get the sack this time. I think he genuinely might get the sack tonight or tomorrow.
Me too.
Wouldn't be surprised. Look, Stel, appreciate your time as always, mate, coming on, giving your opinion. Speak to you very soon, mate.
Forget about Spurs until Thursday, Stel, if possible.
Try.
All right, guys. Have a good one. Take care.
Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Right, that's Stelios, giving his opinion. No,
and which I understand.
I understand. You make some good points.
Anyone that's Ange out, I completely understand. You know.
No, I get it as well. Who's that in the background there? Is it Hugo? Hugo, let's get him on. Hey, Hugo, thanks for calling in, mate.
How are we doing?
Yeah, I'm all right, brother.
Disastrous day today. Yeah, we can hear you. Loud and clear. Disaster today, Hugo. Losing to 19th place Leicester off the back of 7 straight defeats. Another case of Dr. Tottenham today, Hugo. How do you kind of, for you at the moment, how do you assess the situation? Like, who lays the most blame? How do we get out of this situation?
Yeah. First of all, it's very difficult to follow up Stelios. It was a bit of a war zone every time Stelios comes on here. So it's difficult to follow up, but I'll try my best. To make it a situation, I mean, obviously, when I called up last time, it was Ipswich at home when we lost 2-1, and the season was in a very, very different place at that point in time, and a lot has happened in that time. For me personally, looking at the injury crisis, you know, I'm not actually blaming Ange for this run of 10 games. I'm looking at the 10 games before that where we weren't good enough. It's very difficult to scrutinise and judge the team's performances when they can't rotate. And, you know, you've got guys like Kulusevski who, you know, today he looked like he was tired from minute 1. You know, those guys looked tired from minute 1 today. They didn't even look fresh for 10, 15 minutes like we've seen in other games. They looked exhausted from minute 1, really. It's very, very difficult to sort of assess the playing group and criticise them too much. But what I would say about the injury crisis is that, you know, a crisis doesn't happen because of one thing. A crisis happens from a number of minor, small oversights which build up over time that then lead to a crisis, right? So you look at, you know, signing Timo Werner in the summer. At the time, that looks like a decent free depth option. And when it plays out in reality, you see him, he's so bad in games that he can't even rotate Son and play him because he can't trust him and he's so bad.
Yeah.
Werner's not even been able to stay on the pitch for 90 minutes. So that puts pressure on the guys like Brennan Johnson and Son because he can't rotate Werner and give him significant minutes. Then you look at, you know, miss-signings of people like Brennan Johnson and Solanke, who that's 115 million right there. And you look at it and you go, those 2 signings would have impacted our ability to sign an Eze and a Neto in the summer. You know, so that's why I didn't really blame the board too much for not signing a winger in the summer, because they signed Brennan Johnson for £50 million the season before. So that impacts your ability to sign top quality players in the previous summer. And then you look at, you know, not putting backup fullback, going into the season without a backup left back, because he clearly didn't want to use Reguilon from the get-go. We were trying to ship Reguilon off all summer. He clearly didn't want Reguilon. So you go in the season without a recognised backup left back, and then you don't put Spence or Reguilon in the Europa League squad, to where a doggy's playing every 3 days. So that is on Ange. You know, you can't deny that. And I also think that just from this stretch of 10 games, you know, you can't deny anymore that sort of the defensive structure is pretty much non-existent, and you know, the playing group he has got has been run into the ground. And that is also on Ange because he's not rotated enough and he's not managed the squad. So, and then you couple that with a board who are not ambitious, and I don't think have been willing to back Ange properly since the summer. You couple that with the board who aren't ambitious, who don't want to back the manager, and then you've got the manager coming out and saying that, thanks, Mr. Levy, I've been backed, and I'm not frustrated or disappointed with the January window. So you've got it's a match made in hell, in my opinion, and I just don't think the match between the board and the coach has been good from the get-go, really. So it's a pretty difficult situation.
So how do we get out of it? What in terms of if I'm putting you right now, you're the chairman of Tottenham as of now.
Yeah.
You've just been appointed. How do you fix the situation? Do you say, you know what, I'm going to go out tomorrow, splash the cash, and just keep Ange in a job, wait till the players come back, and hope he turns it around? Albeit in the meantime, we're losing games left, right, and centre, and getting close to relegation.
Yeah.
Or do you bring in a firefighter, or do you install an interim until the end of the season? How do you go about changing it?
Well, the problem with the first option, and this is why I don't think the board have gone out and spent money for Ange, is that when you look at the results and the performances from the first 10 games of the season, that Leicester game was identical to the Leicester game at the first game of the season. It was the same. It went exactly the same. And that Leicester game, we didn't have an injury crisis. It went exactly the same. We dominated the first half. We didn't dominate the first half today, but we played much better than Leicester. And we scored a goal, and we looked comfortable in the game. And then Leicester, in the second half, get an equaliser, and we got completely sucker punched, and we lost our way in the game. The away game at the first game of the season, Leicester probably should have won the game based off the chances they had in the second half. They had a Vardy one-on-one where he kind of shot it straight at the keeper and he could have scored. That could have been 2-1. So the game went exactly the same way in both of those fixtures, regardless of the injuries. You look at the Newcastle game, Newcastle away at the start of the season, you look at Newcastle at home just now. Those two games went very, very similar as well. You have most of the ball, you look promising with the ball, and then they have two killer moments where they kill the game and they score 2 goals. So I'm not entirely convinced that, first of all, that with the full squad, Ange was going to do enough this season anyway to do good things this season. So I don't think
Hugo, just to put context into that, though, to be fair, just before the injury crisis hit, we were 6th and we were 3 points off second. That was where we left. That was the starting point of the injury crisis.
Well, okay, but before the Man City game, we were 10th, I believe. So we were right in the mid-table zone, and our actual points per game was 1.4. We had 14 points after 10 games this season.
Yeah, but I'm saying it was a very easily movable situation. As in, after the City game, we were 6th and with 3 points off second, so the table was extremely tight.
Yeah, it's a very movable situation, and it moved in the wrong way because it could have gone either way, and it went the way that it probably should have gone based off how we were playing. We weren't playing good, in my opinion. You know, look, we can sit here and say that we won 9 of 11. We didn't win 9 of 11 in the league. After we had the first. Let's break it down. We had the first 4 games of the season. We played Leicester, we drew, we beat Everton at home, and then we lost to Newcastle and Arsenal. And followed up with a 2-0 at halftime against Brighton. We lost 3-2. Then we beat West Ham. Then we lost to Palace. Then we beat Villa. Then we lost to Ipswich. And then we beat Man City. So it's like we didn't have any consistency. We didn't have any good games. That Brentford and Man United game, that's the only time this season we won 2 in a row in the league. That's the time. So we went win-loss, 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 win-loss. If you stretched out for a season, that's mid-table. And that's where we were. You know,
but this season, my point is, in this specific season, it wouldn't have been. You would have been right in that battle for Europe with that kind of form. It's a very strange season where everyone seems to be very inconsistent, and everyone's beating everyone because I think the level of those mid-table teams have improved. I think if that, I know it's in the regular seasons that form would probably see you in like 10th, but this kind of season that form probably gets you in that fight for the top 6.
But my point is that early on in the season, because it was early on in the season, it was only 10 games. A win-loss ratio might have you 7th or 8th or 6th. But over a season, that gap will just widen and widen and widen as the other teams find consistency and aren't going win-loss. We were on a win-loss stretch in the league after Man City, and then we have some injuries, and then we've gone on this 12-game run or whatever it is. So, and that was the run that we were on for the majority of the first season. If you look at the points per game, it was 1.4 points per game from game week 11 to game week 38. And then you look at the first 10 games of this season, it was 1.4. So that was my big worry is that, yes, on the eye test, the performances looked decent at times, but the statistics didn't lie. It was 1.4 points per game, which is mid-table, which is where we were really. I mean, you can say we were 6th after we beat Man City, but we were 2 points off 4th, but also a point off the mid-table, and this run of games has really shown me that the manager's not dealing with the situation. And, that reflects in how the board backed him in the summer. I think they went low risk. They signed young kids because I think they were aware of the run that we went on in the first season. And they looked at it and went, okay, do you know what? And you're going to have to work with what we've given you here, because things could go tits up very, very quickly for you based off what we saw at the end of last season. I mean, at the end of last season, we had that run of 5 games. And I know I'm talking about last season. It's just that, I've had to sit on these thoughts the whole second season. We had that run of 5 games last season. We had Newcastle, Chelsea, Arsenal, City, and Liverpool. 5 games. You remember that run of 5 games last season? Our whole squad, we had our whole squad back, and the whole discourse was, how many points is Big Ange going to get in this last run of 5 games to get Champions League football, to get us back in there? He's got his full team back. The injuries have derailed our season. This run of 5, how many points? It's going to be 9 points, 12 points, 10 points, 7 points. The guy got 0 points in that run. 0. A big fat 0. So the red flags have been there for a long, long time, and people have, I guess, ignored them because we finished 5th, and Ange is the likable guy. But
I agree with that. But I agree with that. I don't disagree. I think that run I think the more in that run, it was more the performances than results that really was poor, because I think we were getting battered 3-0, 4-0, and we were really outdone by a lot of those teams. But also, I do think what people gloss over, I think unfairly, is after that initial 10 games, everyone says after the 10 games we were shit. But actually, if you look at after those first 10 games last season, we went on a run. We had that little mini injury crisis where we lost 4 players in one game, and we lost Van der Ven, and Romero, and Maddison, and a doggy in a very quick space of time. We then lost 4 out of 5 games. But people gloss over that between, I think, for the next 16 games after that run, we were hitting 2 points a game for 16 games, and we actually had top 4 form for a sustained period. And because it doesn't fit that narrative, people just gloss over that period as if like the whole season after that 10 games we were rubbish. But it's not actually true. We were hitting top 4 for a good 16 games.
Okay. But what doesn't make sense is within that run of 16 games, there was, we were down 4-0 at Brighton, we were down 3-0 at Fulham. We had severe batterings in that period of time, and then you get your full
but we still
squad
won
back,
10 of them. We won 10 of them. We won 10 of them.
But what I'm saying is that what doesn't make sense is you get your full squad back, and then you hit your lowest point of the season, even lower than when you had the injury crisis.
When we played the top 5. When we played the top 5.
Sure, we played the top 5. We're supposed to be competing with them, though. I mean, you look at...
Yeah, but clearly off them. Clearly far off them.
The reason with them, I mean, before that top 5 run, nobody said we were going to get 0 points. That's my point. We got 0. So
Hugo, here's the thing: is the reason we're not competing with those big boys. Yeah, when I look at Liverpool's bench and the players, the caliber of players that they're bringing on, and then you look at City and you look at what Arsenal have done, spending on $1 billion over the last few years, and we're bringing on Oluseyi, Lancashire, Mikey Moore. We're relying on kids, literally people that don't have A-levels yet. They don't have A-levels, and we're expecting them to pull us from the brink against Leicester. I just don't understand where we're going.
Well, let's look at Arsenal. You've got Arteta coming out saying that we're looking for internal solutions, and they're relying on players like Ranieri and Lewis Skelly and these guys. And you look at that, and you're saying that Arteta's someone that's been at that club for 5-6 years, and he's turned the club around. And even they're not going to give him money in January because they don't want to, right? I'm looking at the board, and I'm saying, like, from their perspective, we're giving a lot of money to this manager. I'm not defending the board. I'm one of the big Levy out guys, all right? I'm not defending Levy. I'm not defending the board, because what they've done is shambolic in this January window. Because what they've done is they've done the worst of both worlds. If you don't back the manager, they need to get rid of him. You can't pretend that you're backing him and then not give him anything.
True.
Well, they're looking at it. They're going, look, like, we've given this manager a lot of money over 2 summers, and we signed, Dragusin. We gave him some money last January, and he's got us in this position. He's going to have to turn it around. We're not going to. They're looking at this. I'm not saying this is what I think or what is right. They're looking at it and they're going, we're not going to be in Europe next season again. Yeah, probably because of the way this manager's run the players he has been given down to the bone. We've given him a lot of money to spend. We don't want to spend another 50 to 100 million in this window, because what's it going to return for us? We've given him a lot of players so far, and he's not getting the most out of them. We don't want to give him another 50 to 100 mil. They're trying to do this cheap thing, and that's wrong, and it's gonna screw us over. But that's the position they're coming from. They're saying this manager's not going to get us Europe next season. Why are we going to give him 100 million just to try and maybe win a Carabao Cup?
So why won't they sack him then? If they
I don't know.
But I'm saying, if that was their opinion, we don't want to give this manager any money because he's not getting us anywhere, then they would have sacked him by now, surely.
And if that's the defeatist mentality of going into, we're not going to get Europe, we're not going to get this, we're not going to get that, we may as well not turn up to the games. Do you know what I mean? If that's the case, like from what I would expect to see from ambitious owners to say, okay, we might not be doing so well in the league, we have this crazy injury crisis, but here's 2 free players, 100 million on the table, and go win the Europa League and get Europe. Nothing less is good enough. Nothing less is good enough.
This is my point. This is my point, right? When Conte left in the 23 season, right, and had Mason step in, that was the time when it got the hottest for Levy in terms of Levy out. That was when it got really, really, really nasty.
Yeah.
And 2 things: if you're Levy out, I think you should want the manager to go, partly because that will leave a straight line shot to Levy for the whole fan base to recognise that he's the issue. Because once Ange goes, there's no one else to take the fall. And also, Ange is also not doing himself favours by partially defending Levy and the board in these press conferences, saying he's been back, saying he's not disappointed, he's not frustrated with the window, sort of going, well, if we get some players in, then thanks Levy. If we don't, then you tried your best, Levy. No worries. So I think if you're Levy out, if you're a hardcore Levy out guy, when Ange goes, it should be a good thing because it will give you give a clear line shot to Levy in terms of who's at fault for this situation. That's the silver lining I see for Ange being sacked, is that there'll be no one else to deflect and take the fall. So remember, when Conte left, that's when it got really, really uncomfortable for Levy. And the same thing will happen again when Ange does go, because I personally just don't see how he's going to be able to turn it around. It's unfair for his job to be on one game, which is basically Anfield. I think for most of the fans, the Anfield game is really the last thing that we're clutching onto, and I think it's unfair for Ange, his job, to be decided on whether we get a result at Anfield, because it's going to be a tall order to get a result at Anfield. His job should be on the last 10 games, 1 win, and the poor mismanagement of the squad, and ultimately. He's not dealt with a league where every week you're playing against a very, very good side. Scotland is a different. Rangers are a good team. There are some teams but the bottom half of Scotland, you can rotate, you can take rest, you can play at 70%, and get wins. You never ever played in a league, and he's getting completely eaten alive by it. You can't deny it. He's getting completely eaten alive by the competence of all the managers in the Premier League. You're looking at, Iraola's done a number on us. The Crystal Palace manager's done a number on us. The Brighton manager. These are all young managers that are, the Brighton manager is a rookie manager. He's a rookie, and Andrew's supposed to be 59 years old. He's supposed to be this proven, he's been outdone by all these guys, and so he's not dealing with the competence of Premier League.
Okay, so if sacking the manager's the answer, then is the answer, then where do we go from there? Do we get an interim? Do we just appoint a new manager? What's your where do you go?
Well, look. Obviously, Iraola is probably the guy that I think most fans would want. Is looking, I'm not going to sit here and say that Iraola is going to come in. For me, I think that you bring in somebody that's just going to steady the ship, and then you go for a McKenna in the summer. I think Kieran McKenna is someone that would come to Tottenham despite our league position, despite the mess that's going on. I think McKenna is someone that would want to come to manage Tottenham. He's a young manager, and I think he's doing a good job at making Ipswich difficult to beat. And they beat us. So McKenna is the guy that I would look at in the summer. I don't know if you can get him in at this point in the season. It's a tough situation, but there are more guys out there just than Iraola, Thomas Frank, and McKenna. They're looking at this Terzic guy from Dortmund. I'm not familiar with him. There are guys out there that you can get in that aren't Ryan Mason or Iraola. It's not one extreme or the other. There are guys you can get in that aren't Ryan Mason to steady the ship. It's not a great situation, but I think I probably would think that after Anfield, when we probably won't get a result, I reckon that's the best thing to do, because I just don't think if we go out the Carabao Cup, there's nothing else for us to feasibly salvage out of the season other than just not getting sucked into the relegation zone more than we are. That's my opinion. Some fans might not like that, but that would be my solution. I think you give him until Anfield, to be honest. Maybe that's crazy.
And
but
what if he win? And if we get a result up there, then do we keep him for the final?
if he gets a result at Anfield, look, build the statue and build the copper statue outside and just go to the final and try and win that game. Because, if he does that, then I'll be completely amazed. And
I love it, Hugo.
And on Ange, Ange he's the kind of guy I want to sit down with, and I want him to tell me some stories.
Yeah.
I want him to tell me about.
It's true.
I want him to tell me about how Puskas was his manager when he was a youth player. I want him to tell me about how he came from Australia and all the people. I want him to tell me all that, but I just don't think he's cut it. Unfortunately,
you don't have the faith. You don't have the faith. Yeah. You don't have that faith that he can turn it around.
All right, Hugo.
Even if sorry.
No, go on. What are you going to say quickly?
Even if we get some players back, I just think based off the evidence of the beginning of the season and how inconsistent we were, I just don't think he's going to be good enough in the long run, even with all his players back, to really earn his position as Tottenham manager for the third season. That's the way I look at it.
Fair enough. All right, Hugo. Appreciate your time
Nice
as always,
one for the
mate.
call,
Thanks for
Hugo.
calling in.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, take care.
Take
Cheers.
care, buddy.
See
All
you
the
soon.
best.
All right.
Cool.
Very good call. Yeah, it was good. You broke it down well. And good opinions. Who else we got? Who's coming on next? Here we are. Here's
The man, the myth, the legend.
Mr. Blockbuster. Come on, not box office. Mr. Blockbuster, I'll call him. Brian Daigle. He's in no mood for laughing, no mood for jokes today. No smile.
Oh no,
Nothing to smile about.
Tottenham Hotspur are the joke. That's the joke. Tottenham Hotspur are the joke. Let's unravel the bullshit production that is Tottenham Hotspur, shall we? Amazing how before this game kicked off, Leicester are so poor, they've lost the last 7, we're easily going to win, we can't lose to them, we're so shit, they're so shit, we're going to beat them. They beat us, and then all of a sudden, yeah, but we've got an injury team. Injuries. It was amazing how injuries didn't happen before in the pre-match. Leicester are shit. Leicester have lost 7 games in a row. Leicester are definitely going down. We're Tottenham Hotspur, of course we can beat them. But then when we lose to them, we got injuries. No, not the injuries. Oh no. Always. And let's now undress the bullshit production that is the word context. Because I have never heard the word context used so many times in my entire life than during Ange Postecoglou. I'll give you context for Daniel Levy. But we don't use that word context. 7 managers in 5 seasons at the game changer. 8 if you want to count Mason twice. Window after window of fucking up managers and not bringing in players in. But let's not use the word context. 24 years of the same thing happening. But let's not talk about context. We want to talk about this January transfer window. The business have signed the Paris Korean Coffee and Bakery. 50 Cent, the Rolling Stones announced Ben Eubank, a fight where there's no title on the line. How ironic that it's at the Hotspur Stadium, at the entertainment complex. How ironic that that's
I don't know whether to laugh or cry. He's true.
With the football club, Kinski. When we've had all these injuries, and when they all come back and break down, and Sim, you and Ben go on about when you bring out the injuries and you let people know this one's had a setback, that one's had a setback. Do Tottenham do anything about it? Do they bring in players to help Ange? To help any manager? To help anything? No, but let's not use that word context for that because you can't use it with him. People want to talk about protest. We must start the protest again. We've got to do it this time. I flew over from Canada. I walked up and down that high street with many others. I've stood outside a training ground, got laughed at, smeared at, racially abused, you name it. Smeared all over the place. Pathetic, negative. How's all this positivity doing, people? Don't worry, we'll get through this. We'll get through this, and when we get through this, when do we get through this, Sim? When do we get through this? When everyone thinks the players come back and they're all going to be bang, 100% fit, raring to go at top of their game, not break down and be indestructible. Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. After Newcastle 6-1, I came on and went mad. After we lost to Bournemouth this season, I came on and said, I don't think I've ever felt so low since that Newcastle game. And where have we gone since then, from then to Bournemouth? I crave those Bournemouth days back. What has happened since Bournemouth? What has this football club done to support a manager who has got to go, by the way? Got to fucking get out of this club. Got to. But the amount of time I hear this word context used for Ange Postecoglou and nothing else at this football club. Did anyone use the word context for Antonio Conte when a friend of his died? Three people died in his close friend network and he went into hospital. Yep. Was the word context used then?
You had to have
Was
surgery.
the word context used when Daniel Levy and everyone came for me and others when he gave the war chest of £150 million and we didn't even spend all that? We got to get top 4 to get the big players. Now we can't even get players. But let's all sit here, like I said at the beginning, and go, yep, we should beat Leicester. They're shit. They're crap. They've lost 7 games, but then as soon as we lose, oh yeah, but the players are injured and knackered. Injured and knackered. But it was fine to mock Leicester before. We're the joke, Simeon. We're the joke. The fucking owner is I'm going to choose my words carefully here, is a wanker. Land, what the hell do you do? And you don't help yourself. Recruitment team, go. And all these fans that want to go, I'm negative. And that I pray for us to lose. Do you think this comes from happiness? Do you think this comes because I'm deliriously happy that Levy is fucking over this football club? No, I'm not. I demand better. I demand this football club resemble what they're doing off the pitch. I demand that this football club use the money that they say this stadium will generate to bring in the better players. I demand that there is a football person on that board that can shut Cullen up and all the other board members. I demand that this football club is treated like a football club, not some toy and entertainment complex. And we'll go, don't worry, we have to wait. When our players come back, we'll mystically be okay. Everything will be fine. But we'll just hurtle down. Managers have lost their job for less. And I just don't understand. But sorry, so I'm just saying one more. These people that direct message me, direct message other people, have called out people like myself, Stell, Graham, Ryan Isaacs, other people that have been there and done walk the walk, talk the talk. Simeon, you've been at the fucking protest. Ben organised one for the Super League. And now they go, yes, start it and we'll join. That's what was told last time. But I will say, for once, well done to every single home fan in that stadium that shouted that bloody man's name out, loud, proud and constantly, because this is now beyond a joke. Stop swallowing the bullshit he is feeding you. Stop paying for food in that ground. Stop paying for beer in that ground. Go and support local businesses. Stop spending money in that club shop. Stop the tills ringing, he listens.
Keep chanting his name and he'll hear as well, Daigle. I heard the chants were very, very loud today.
They had a banner which they tried to take down.
The banner was there. Yeah. We need to apply full pressure on Levy and the board. What they've done to our club is unacceptable. Full stop.
Well, as I said, we can't defend, we can't attack. Levy says we got a Tottenham back. Everyone that fucking clapped him for doing that, shame on you. All those people that go to the AGM, the fans forum, yeah, we got to turn them back. Woohoo! Fuck off. Call me negative. You have a chance to ask him questions. You do nothing. You do nothing. And you want to talk about Levy's thick skin. The thick skin that doesn't get to him. We'll turn the music up so no one can hear. We'll try and take the banners away. We'll stop the balloons. He thinks he's a dictator. You can't sing songs. You can't do this. We'll turn the music up. Oh, my wife will rub his thigh, but it doesn't get to him. Every single time that man's lips move, he is lying. I have said it for 17 years. 17 years I've been right. And it will continue. It will continue. And you know what? Ange needs to go. I have tried to defend him as much as I can. After Arsenal, you can't keep doing this shit. You want to talk about taking Richarlison off? A minute ago, you said we gave him 2 weeks of extra fitness to make sure he is absolutely fit because we didn't want to risk him. Then you take him off when we're losing. You have Will Lancashire on the bench. You don't put him on. Project Youth. You're a goal down. Let's bring on Reguilon and fucking Moore. Let's heap it on a 17-year-old. Then you said to me, Sim, Saar played because he really wanted to help, but he wasn't quite right. If he's not 100% fit, don't play him. Don't play them.
But wait, you're criticising him for playing Saar 100% fit, but now you're criticising him for taking off Richarlison.
No, I'm saying he gave him 2 weeks. When you're 2-1 down, if you're going to sub him, bring on Will Lancashire, a goal scorer, a striker.
Okay.
When you're 2-1 down and you need a goal scorer, what do? You take your goal scorer off. He comes at... Ange Postecoglou has contradicted himself. This January alone, we need 3-4 players and we need to get them in quick. Then help for Solanke is coming in. It's coming. When asked, is that Richarlison and someone else? Both. Well, the both didn't happen. Then it was, I don't think anyone's coming in. Now it's if we don't on the 25th, if we don't get anyone, we're playing with fire. We're keeping Richarlison fit and he's been ready for 2 weeks, but we're making sure he's extra fit. Then you take him off and don't put a striker on, but you need a goal. Listen, he needs to go. And do you know what? I've always said, I want Thomas Frank to be my next manager. But do you know what? I'm going to show my age now. If anyone has seen the movie Brewster's Millions, and there's a bit where he's trying to get rid of all of his money and he goes into politics and he says vote for none of the above. I don't want another manager to walk into this football club. Let Mason do it. Let whoever comes, we screw over. In 18 months, we'll be right back here. Didn't get his players, his patience. Give it time. It's a project, yada, yada, yada. This is the last chance saloon. We'll fuck him over. We'll be right back here having the same discussion. I hope every single manager in the world, once we get rid of Ange, turns us down. I hope no manager says, you know what, I'm not coming to Tottenham.
Well, even if we get relegated.
Don't give a fuck.
So why not just keep Ange then, if that's your opinion? Why not just keep Ange if that's your opinion?
Because look what he's doing. Mate, the worst thing is people keep talking about if we get relegated, Levy will sell. Are you mad? Half the value of the club gets wiped off. He's going nowhere. He won't sell for 4 billion. Why is he going to sell for 2? And make a loss. It doesn't matter who comes at this club. It is rancid. It is rotten. And no matter what happens, I'll give you another reference. The Lion King. Do you remember at the end of The Lion King, the Disney movie, when Scar and Simba have to fight together, and the whole fucking jungle is dying? Mm-hmm. Well, that's Tottenham Hotspur right now. Until Simba beats fucking Scar and taps on the fucking Tottenham Hotspur, I'm the new owner, then the green grass will come. Then the shoots of hope will come. Then the optimism, the desire, the belief will come. There is no football club here.
Are we lifting up a cub?
I'll lift Levy off the fucking sky. It's got to the point where I don't even give a fuck what people think of what I'm saying here. This club is rancid. The club is rotten. Think I'm rancid? Think I'm rotten? Go think that yourself. Go think of that, me. I don't care. I'm fighting for wanting... Go talk to the people that have been around since the 60s and 70s and seen this club got relegated. Go ask Graham, who you both know, if this is the worst football they've ever seen in their life and the worst time ever of being a Spurs fan. And not just Ange, the owners. This football club doesn't resemble a football club. There used to be a
doesn't.
connection. There used to be a connection with the fans. There used to be honour, prestige, tradition. There's no honour. The money that we generate from these fucking concerts and events don't go into the club to get better players. It goes in to get better talent and better celebrities and bigger fights and
Yep.
bigger artists.
And hotels. Don't forget the hotels, Daigle.
Oh, the wonderful hotel, mate. Yeah, because that's what it is, mate. We are a ever-growing property portfolio. That's all we are, mate. We are an entertainment complex. There is no football club here. There is no football club, and people have to listen. I understand people paying their season tickets. Do not buy a fucking thing in there. Do not, after losing 2-1 to Leicester, go and drink some pints in there and start singing Spurs songs. But then you're inside the stadium screaming, "Levy out." I've never seen such stupidity in my life. But like I said at the very beginning of this sim, everyone predicting Leicester will beat Leicester because they're crap. They're going down. Rue hasn't got a clue. They've had 7 defeats on the bounce. Spurs are going to win 3-1, 2-1, yada yada yada. Spurs lose. Oh yeah, but look at our injuries and the players ran around a lot. People think we're better than we are. We're not. Yeah. We're not. And you think people like Kulusevski are going to want to stay at this football club? You think Romero is going to want to stay at this football club? And guess what? When we sell them, do you reckon that money's going to get reinvested wisely?
All right, Brian. Appreciate your time as always, mate. It's an emotional time at the moment at this football club. Let's just hope there is some sort of let up to the darkness. Because
hopefully Andrew's gone by the morning and Levy's gone by the end of the season, and then hopefully this once great football club, this once passionate football club, this once incredible community that Tottenham that embodied will come back, and the glory days will be there, and challenging for leagues will be there. The fact that we are looking at the Crystal Palace Brentford game to making sure to see how close we are to them in 12th. Well done, well done. 1 point behind Everton, 16 behind Bournemouth. We're going good places, mate. Good. We just got to ride it through. Guys, listen, I'll let you get everyone else on. Levy out.
See you later, Brian. That was Brian, the great Brian Daigle, as always. There's a video circulating online of Ange going through the tunnel. I'm just watching it now. Apparently, what some of the fans say, let me hear. I'm seeing Ange go down the tunnel. There's a fan shouting, "Ange, you're taking us down. We're going down with you." And then Ange comes back out the tunnel, looks at the fan, and one of the other coaches forces him back down the tunnel.
It's not good, is it, Sim? None of it is good.
Well, yeah, with the form we're on, it's always going to, turn toxic. All right, let's get Mikey on. Hey, Mikey.
Hey, guys.
Thanks for coming on, mate. Hope you're doing all right.
I'm good while we wait for man number 2 to come back. Hey, Guy.
It's all right. No need to wait. You crack on, mate. Mikey, it's a difficult time at the moment with the results. A disastrous result today. How do you assess what's going on? How do we move forward from this? What's your opinion?
Well, as far as I know, the whole thing with the club being in the state that it is has, it bugs me that a lot of people can't at least try to acknowledge the difference between there being more than one problem at the club. Ange and Levy aren't an exclusive problem. I think they are separate in themselves. I think the on-the-pitch problems with Ange Postecoglou are independent from the deep-rooted cause of Levy at the club. I think they are independent of each other.
They're not linked. Don't think they're linked. Okay, go on. Yeah, go on.
No, so what I'm saying is, I think a lot of fans struggle to struggle to separate the two. I think I would want Levy out for different reasons, as I want Ange Postecoglou not to be manager of this football club anymore. I think a lot of people struggle to differentiate between the two because the performances on the pitch aren't there, and it hasn't been for quite a few weeks, months. We've seen that. That's pretty self-explanatory. But Levy is the root cause of that, and Levy is the root cause of everything that's going wrong with this football club. And I think the anger directed at Ange, whilst not completely unfounded, the passion that these fans are showing, like the one on the video you just watched, that passion when Ange was confronted by the fan who wanted us to lose at Man City last year when he reacted angrily, the passion that the fans are showing towards these figures isn't being directed at the right places, and a lot of people are saying that, and that's what bugs me about this.
So how do we fix this issue? How do we move forward from it? Where do we go from where we are right now? What's the best course of action for you?
I think, firstly, you can't say the word context without including the word Conte in it. This goes back to what he said, and I appreciate everything that Daigle said. And because, again, it's true, you can't say the word context without Conte. Conte calling out... Conte was never one to be he was never a figure to sit down and take what was given to him. Conte wanted this football club to be good. We've seen the managers. We've seen how they talk about them. Mourinho calling Mr. Levy the most unique man in world football. Conte calling out everything that is wrong with this club in a rant that had most of us saying, yeah, it's true, but it's not the right way to go. It's absolutely the right way to go about it. And I have to kick myself in the head forever disagreeing with the way Conte went about it and what he said, because it's true. Every single thing he said is true. The mentality from the players was never there. The fitness levels that are required for Ange's system are non-existent. His system is intense beyond belief. And if he is a manager who needs his starting 11 to play, that is a problem in itself, because he needs to be able to build that squad that can play for him. But if the players that he already has are being injured left, right, and centre, what does that say about the fitness of the players we're buying? They're professional athletes. That's not the problem. It has to be the intensity of the system. There are so many things that Conte said that have come to fruition, and it baffles me that people want to identify it as, because it's multifaceted. It's not just one root cause,
Yeah, I understand that, but we still, as the football club, they need to make a decision. Do they sign him players? Do they get rid of him immediately and instill a firefighter in charge? Do they get rid of him and try and get a manager for the long term? Do they instill an interim? Do they keep him? Like, what's your opinion?
Well, what should happen and what will happen are obviously two very, very different.
I'm asking what should happen.
What should happen is, firstly, a coordinated effort. And I know people have been, and I know Brian Daigle's been on the front lines, and I know everyone's done it. I'm relatively new to this. I wanted to go to the Super League protests. I really did. But unfortunately, my school decided to have school that day, so I couldn't actually go. But the problem with everything is that there's never been enough of a concerted, one uniting voice behind Daniel Levy out. So the first thing that has to change is the fans. I'm not going to any more games except if we make the Carabao Cup final, because I'm depriving myself of watching Tottenham win a trophy for anyone, let alone Daniel Levy. But I'm not stepping foot inside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for the foreseeable future. I can tell you that now. I'm done with giving my money to the club, which is inevitably just going into one man's pocket. So there's got to be a concerted, united fan effort against Levy. There's got to be enough of a push for him to get out. What should happen is he leaves. What I want to happen is he leaves. Ange goes with him. We get in someone who's actually ambitious enough to want to care about it, because running a football club isn't going to make you money. Most people who run a football club lose money. It's a loss-making venture in the short term. But ultimately, what should happen is we need new owners, we need a new manager, and we need new ideas. But none of that is happening. What should the owners do?
The owners aren't going to sack themselves. So what should the owners do?
Obviously not. Obviously not. If they want to go and make a quick buck, but they're all about protecting their investment and milking as much money as they can. That's what they do. They're shareholders. It's what they're there for. They're there to make money. they obviously see themselves making more money from having Tottenham in the long run than a quick sale of 3-4 billion. It will make the various people that were associated with more money, and therein lies the problem. If they see more money in keeping the club than selling it, they will not sell the club, and therein lies the problem.
But then we could just keep slipping further and further and down the table. And if we get relegated, then guess what? Their investment, they're going to start losing major amounts of money, Mikey, if we keep going the way we're going.
Well, yeah, and obviously that's a double-edged sword. And what Brian Daigle said is probably true. They're going to want maximum return on their investment, and why would they sell for 2 billion when they could have sold for 4, as Brian Daigle said? So therein lies the problem. We have a toxic culture at this club, which is from the top all the way down, and unfortunately, the fact of the matter is, unless there is a significant enough revenue loss from fan action that forces him out, nothing's going to change.
No, but my point is, regardless of that, they're not going anywhere.
No.
And so, what do we do right now? What should they be doing right now when it comes to the manager situation? If they do, we'll change it. Who's coming in? Is it interim? Like, what should the next steps be?
Well, I don't think it's Harry Redknapp. I think squad planning has been a massive part. As like I said, I think Ange Postecoglou's position is now untenable with a large section of the fan base, and the squad planning, he needs a starting 11 to play, as I mentioned, and getting in more players of the caliber that he needs. Tottenham aren't an attractive proposition. We all hate to say it, but I think that the story of Arsenal going in for a forward means that we can't sign players from whoever it was is a little bit far-fetched. But what's happening right now is that we're not an attractive enough destination. And while the people behind the scenes, Johan Lang and Daniel Levy and Scott Munn and everyone else behind the scenes are doing as much as they can. I read a report earlier today after the game from, I think it was BBC, who basically said that they're not close to signing anyone. The club are trying to do it. It's the same thing. The club are trying. What has to happen is we need enforcements. We need a lot of them. But with 5 days, if you count today, if you don't count today, with five full days left of the transfer window, how quickly are those arrivals going to come?
Correct. Yeah, all right, Mikey. Good to chat to you, mate. Appreciate your time. Thanks, as always. Man. And we'll see you soon.
Have a good week, Mikey. Take care, mate.
You too, guys.
All right. Is he the last one?
No, we've got a couple more.
Okay. Let's keep going. We've got George Orton. He's coming on.
Big up,
Let's get him on
Big
now.
up,
How you doing, George? Thanks for calling in. Hope you're doing all right, surviving. Have you got 5 points for us today?
Certainly do. It's a bit more than 5, but
a bit more than 5. Three would have done nicely, but there you go. Go on, George. Fire away. What's going on at Tottenham at the moment?
I can sum it all up in 2 words. I don't even have to tell you what the 2 words are. Levy out. Fucking hell. Yeah. I think Carly from Carly on You Spurs on Twitter, she summed it up perfectly last week. Dr. Tottenham is inevitable. Saw a comment in one of the streams from watching today, and it said, "We are the Robin Hood team. We take points from Manchester and we give them to shit clubs.
I swear.
We're the shit club." So if we could give ourselves some of those points, that'd be nice. But honestly, that was just disgraceful.
You know what's funny? Everyone says like, "Oh, Leicester have lost 7 in a row, and if when we're losing 10 is a disgrace." You know what's funny? People are probably looking at like us for the same thing. Like they've looked at their form. If we lose to them, it's a disgrace. That's probably what they're looking at.
100%.
That's how they're looking at it.
We are the laughing stock. Obviously.
They're looking at us saying, if we drop points to these lot,
of course,
we are a disgrace.
And if we don't score against these lot, you're looking at strikers. Calvert-Lewin hadn't scored in months, lad. Months. And he comes to us and he looks like prime Ronaldinho, tippy-tapping the ball around our box. It's crazy.
George, for you, when it comes to Ange and the manager, there was some scenes at the end of the game. He seemed to be clashing with fans again. It didn't seem pretty. Obviously, the form is absolutely diabolical. We are hurtling towards relegation zone, albeit still the gap is still 8 points at the moment in time of recording.
You've got to keep saying that. Stop saying that, Sim, because it's going to keep going.
It will keep
smaller
going.
and
Probably
smaller.
have to go bad for it, but What is the right course of action? Does a new manager change things? Is an interim the answer? If we are on the precipice of getting Romero and Van de Ven back in this team, they are back in training. Can we just wait out another week or two before they get back into training and hope results return and we can get out of the situation, or is it beyond that point, George?
I think the guys that were on the stream, even post week afterwards, it's been such a busy week for me. I can't even remember who it was, but I think they hit the nail on the head when they said, like, ultimately, it's too far gone now. If he was going to be sacked, he needed to be sacked before the January window opened, in my opinion. Obviously, I hold my hands up. I was very Ange-in. Now I'm less Ange-in, but I'm still not Ange-out. I'll always back a manager to, and I'm exactly the same as you, Tim. Like, the main thing for me with regards to the manager is, yes, obviously it's not going well, but look at Man United as a case study. Like, they changed and nothing's improved. And we've proved over the past 4 or 5 managers plus. I mean, you could go back to the past 7, 8, 9 managers. We've proved that changing managers isn't going to do fuck all. We need to change the guy at the top, and to do that, we need the fan base to be united. And seems that that's just never going to be the case. And I don't understand why. I get everyone's unhappy, but surely we all want the same thing. Surely we all want Spurs to be winning. Why can't everyone just agree on something to get to that goal? I don't get it. We can all see that Levy is the problem, in my opinion. We really need to just do how the fans did today. That's the first time any Levy out chants have been heard that loud on TV. In the past, I don't know if you've clocked, even the TV stations turn it down. The second it starts, like, they turn those microphones off because they can do that now. They turn them off for certain ends. It's all to do with the swearing. But that's what they started utilising it for, getting Levy out. And I don't get it. I really don't. But the thing that I mainly wanted to touch on was the boost for the substitutions. I get there's a lot of frustration around it, but I don't agree with it because for me, obviously it was more for Richie and Reggie came on for Pat Matasar. For me, I don't think I've ever seen a game from anyone as bad as Pat Matasar had today. What do you guys think on that?
Shouldn't have been.
I mean, he said after the game he wasn't 100% fit and he probably shouldn't have played.
He was completely off it.
But he's kind of damned if he does, damned if he doesn't, isn't he? At the moment, Ange, with the way the squad is, trying to give team players a break, and he can't because of the injury situation. But could he have done? Put Graham in field and started Reguilon, but Reguilon came on and wasn't fantastic either. And look, let me ask this question: is the situation at the moment with the injuries and everything, is it a case of it's an impossible situation to manage, or do you think he should be managing this situation better than he is?
I'm not paid $5 million a year to determine that, but ultimately, I just had a really good point and it's completely gone. Sorry, say that last little bit again.
The question is, at the moment, is the situation that we're in at the moment with, today I think we're missing 12 or 13 players, and people always after the game, he should have done this, he should have brought on Lancashire, he should have started Reguilon, should he have started more, why did he put Son up front? There's all these different, complaints people have, and maybe some are valid and some are not, but at the end of the day, when you've been close to 3 months now with, double-digit injuries, is this a case for you personally of it's just an impossible situation to manage and whatever he does, it seems like, is leading to the same place? Or is it a situation where we're now 8 defeats in 11, he's got to be managing the situation better regardless of the amount of injuries we have?
I think hindsight's a wonderful thing. I think everyone can turn around and say, why didn't Lancashire start today, for example? With Brian saying, we're pulling off our goal scorer to bring on
Mikey Moore, and
that's it, Mikey Moore. But ultimately, again, that's good in hindsight. But at the time, I literally, before the substitutions were even made, I was saying these 2 substitutions should be made because I could see what Andrew was trying to do. I could see that it's not working with Sonny out on the left. It's not working with Richie up through the middle. What's the next best solution? Well, put Mikey Moore on, bring Sonny into the middle. That literally, it was so clear as day to me. And then everyone started booing. I actually thought they were booing Richie. I didn't think they were booing the substitutions. But when the commentators started saying it, that obviously made sense. But I just think some of our players aren't made for the system that we need to play. For example, Bentancur, phenomenal player, but it just doesn't fit attacking style of football. I don't think he played one attacking pass today. When in his position, he should be the one that's doing the Moussa Dembele style passes, splitting the defence open, looking for those runs down the wing.
And he can do that. We've seen him in the past do that.
Yeah, and on the other side of things, I'll contradict myself a little bit. You can also say the reason it's not happening is because the other players are tired. I mean, to play those passes, you need Kulu making those runs in behind. Yeah, and they're just so knackered. And yes, I get a lot of people's frustration with Ange regarding it, but you can't have over 80% of your starting players out injured and then rely on the other people without expecting them to get tired. Again,
what do you say? When people say, "Oh, but it's Ange's fault why he's got so many injuries because he's mismanaged the squad," do you think that's fair?
No. I think it's an unlucky situation. Correlation is not causation.
Just to push back a little bit on that, George, though, I think some of the injuries, like even if because I like Ange as a person, but I'm looking at what happened with VDV and Romero, and I just think that decision, that was pure negligence there. And if we had those two guys for this last month or so, I really do think the results would have been very different. Because
I agree,
such
but
key
you
players.
have to say in the same breath. Sorry to cut you off, but you have to say in the same breath that it's not just on Ange to determine their fitness. It's on the fitness staff. It's also on the players themselves to be able to, like Romero, he's old enough and he's won enough World Cups to be able to sit back and go, no, my body's not ready for the long term. Miss one more game. Like if you're a 14-year-old doing Sunday League, I get it. But he's not. But in the same breath, I'm also not surprised he's come out and said he wants to leave at the end of the season.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, George. I agree with you. It's not just Ange. There's a whole medical department there. There's also players there that you got to take responsibility for your own situation. And if you're not,
I'm surprised it hasn't been more publicised that Richie put in a transfer request in January, like this month.
Has he? Did he?
No one seems to be talking. Yeah, he requested to go to Saudi, and then
is that
just.
True?
It was just so I can't remember where I saw it. I saw it in like 3 or 4 places. But what I heard, and again, go and verify this for us because it's your platform, and I don't know how true it is. But I heard that he was in the process of putting in a transfer request to leave to Saudi Arabia the day that Solanke got injured, and that's why it didn't go through, and that's why he didn't put it in because he could see that it was going to get more game time.
Wow.
And I don't think we'll know whether that's 100% true or not until the end of the season when he does or doesn't actually go and put it in. But that's just a rumor.
Richie's looked all right since he's come back. Got a couple of goals. I know he went off early today, but Maddison was saying before the game, I think after the Everton game, Maddison was saying that that Richie's just nowhere near ready to start games at the moment. And then before, just on the eve of the Everton game, Solanke picks up that injury, and all of a sudden we kind of need him to start these games, and that's why he's only getting 55 minutes. But in those 55 minutes, he's got a couple of goals already, hasn't he? So he's hopefully once he starts getting more and more fit, hopefully he's not injured today because Ange said he felt his groin. So let's just hope nothing serious there.
Yeah, no, I fully agree that it's more than just one player, but even when he was playing for his previous clubs, me and my dad spoke to each other about how bad he was. I remember he missed from a foot away, he hit the post when he was playing for Everton, and then we go and sign him I think it was 2 months later. I couldn't believe it, but it was such a typical Spurs move. It really was. I think Harry Kane leaving should have been a massive eye opener for all of us, and it doesn't seem to have been the case. 100%. Then the fact that we waited a season to bring in Solanke, and now there's no backup for them. Again, I get why everyone's Ange out. I really do. I think we should stick with him because I think if we get rid of him, nothing's going to change until the ownership change. And And as I said, Man United's a really key example of that. And they have changed the ownership. I'm lost. I'm really lost.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are.
We
the
all
moment,
are,
George.
We literally we're all in the same.
Looks like you're not. I think you're not just. I think the players and the manager and everyone's
the whole
lost.
club.
Is that a cat? They seem lost.
Nah. Did you see Did you see the lastly real quick the Ange's post-match press conference?
I haven't seen
seen it, but I've heard some snippets from it. Yeah.
He seems like his head's not there now. It's almost like he knows he's about to get sacked.
What's your gut telling you? Do you think we'll wake up tomorrow and he'll be out of a job, or do you think they will give him maybe to that Liverpool game?
Who knows with this ownership? Personally, if I was at the top and I'm a businessman, I would really be torn. Do I keep him in, or do I make the same mistake I made last time with Mourinho? I genuinely don't know. It's complete, and the fact that it's down to one person says everything about the club.
Yeah, that's part of the problem as well, George. Exactly. Spot on, George.
Nice one, George. Appreciate you calling in, mate. Really good call.
Levy out. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on,
I love that.
Come on, you
Big
Spurs.
up to George. Great call as always. Always has some good opinions. We've got Joe. I think Joe is in the background. Is he there? No, he's just gone. Is he? Is he? Let's go to Philly Ali first.
Philly Ali.
Let's go, Philly. How are we doing, Philly Ali? Nice to see you. I wish under better circumstances, but look, a disastrous defeat today, no doubt about it. Losing to a 19th place team who have lost 7 on the bounce. You know, a team who couldn't score for toffee, couldn't stop conceding, have come here and won 2-1. A lot of people saying that should be that for Ange. His job has become untenable after that performance. Ange seems to be, turning a bit toxic in the stadium. He snapped at a fan nearly, it looked like, after the game. How do you see things at the moment, Philly?
Are you kidding me? Another day in paradise. Come on, guys. I just can't wait to the next Spurs game. Every game I'm looking forward to, because at this point, how could we lose another game? I mean, come on. I keep going back to the fan forum and just how perverse it was for Daniel Levy to say, "You've got your Tottenham back." Now, I want to know from you guys, what do you think he meant by "we got our Tottenham back"?
Back to mid-table from the 90s before he came.
Because it's exactly, we're exactly back where we were when I started supporting in the mid-90s, Philly Ali. We're exactly back to where we were. Oh, minus the bankruptcy. We're not quite there yet.
Yeah, today I saw a lot of young players who were just at wit's end. I think they're trying their best. I still think they're playing for the manager. I don't think the manager either has the time or the focus on tactics enough for us to be still against any Premier League side at this point, looking at our squad. But, I think as a fan base, we need to focus. The one blessing we have at Spurs is we should all be able to agree on a really, really good scapegoat. Someone who is not only a scapegoat in name, but in function. Someone who touches every aspect of this club, who is, I would say, at fault for where our squad is, where our management is, where our football direction is, where the club culture is. You guys run a fantastic channel, and I am old enough to remember where on this show, every match, Grandpa O'Brien would be the first caller. And, what are the type of decisions that our ownership does? Besides prioritizing hotels and concerts, what do is they don't protect our older fans who've been through it. They don't put up statues of our old heroes so we can at least have memories to learn about how great we were in the past. I would love to hear, what is one good footballing decision that Daniel Levy has made?
One good footballing decision. I don't know if he's made any.
Zero, lad. Zero.
Come on, guys. Sim, you have like an encyclopedic history knowledge. Like you said, you dedicated your life to this club.
Hiring Pochettino, I guess. That was the one good decision.
No, but that was luck. That was luck more than anything. He was having a good run at Southampton. He took a punt on Pochettino, and then Pochettino
and maybe getting Harry Redknapp in place of Ramos. That was probably the other one as well. Two good decisions.
Yeah, I think Paul Mitchell was good. And then Paratici was almost good. If he wasn't a criminal, that would have been a good.
Exactly.
But it's interesting because I think the only good footballing decisions are the ones that removed Levy further from footballing decisions. Paul Mitchell was good because he was able to work with his footballing knowledge to get players in the door that maybe we didn't expect. Same thing with Paratici. He was the footballing knowledge of at least the Italian league about some opportunities we could get some players in the door. So the only good footballing decisions Levy has made are removing himself from footballing decisions.
But the theory was, clearly it hasn't happened, but the theory was at the beginning of this Ange project, Scott Munn came in, Johan Lang came in. There was supposed to be more removal between Levy and the footballing decisions, but it looks like at the moment, apparently he's still very much involved in transfer deals. He's still very much negotiating on behalf of Tottenham. He seems still very much involved in all the footballing side of the club.
There's
when
your problem.
that was supposed to be the sell of this project, that there was supposed to be with Scott Munn there. Separation. Leicester has been separation, and it just hasn't gotten better. Obviously, I'm not in the boardroom, but do you think they've just been lying to us? Is that what you're thinking?
Well, of course, it's hard for fans to speculate because we are not in these very important conversations, meetings behind doors. But what we can go by is the direct quotes from people who have been there. And what did Paul Mitchell say? Daniel Levy turned his dream job into a nightmare. So what do you think, even if Munn and Lang were the best in the world at their job, what do you think they're going through? You can't squeeze water out of a rock. You know what I mean? Like if they're not afforded a budget, how can they bring in players?
Yeah.
It's all well and good. It's all well and good. They can scout all the players they want. They can go and find all these different things. But if Levy's going to come around and say no at certain points when the money doesn't fit for him, then it's all well and good there being separation when he has the final say.
And what has Daniel Levy ever said about this football club that we would feel confidence in this period that he could get us out of this difficult? He has called our club a money spinner. He said the only reason that Enoch purchased this club is because football is the biggest money spinner. There is no passion. These are direct quotes.
Yeah, when he
somehow he gets away with just claiming that he's a Spurs fan. Can anyone show me a picture of him with a Spurs scarf? Can anyone show me a picture of him as a kid going to a Spurs game? I mean, there's so many things he could do off the pitch, on the pitch, to prove it that he is actually backing the football side of this club. But for some reason, we have to ignore the entire hotel going up, ignore the entire gentrification, ignore the ticket prices going up, ignore them stealing our banners and undermining folks like Brian Daigle, who, puts his heart and soul in line for this club. We have to ignore all that because one time Daniel Levy said that he's a Spurs fan.
Bang on, Philly Ali.
We have one clear scapegoat. It's so clear. If you're Ange or Ange in, we can both blame Levy. He either didn't bring in enough players or he's the one who hired and is trusting Ange in this relegation battle. Either way,
Yeah.
We need to join together as a fan base and say, no matter what your opinion is, we all can be Levy out. We
But
can
that's the
all put
thing.
pressure on him.
Filiali, I wish the fan base would get to that point of everyone being Levy out. The problem is that a few years ago we had one of the best managers in world football. We were in a cup final and we sacked him before the cup final, and you had a lot of the fan base happy with that sacking. Happy that we sacked a serial winner before, because they didn't like the football or the style of football that was being played under Jose. Yeah. Do you understand? There's another big problem here on top of Levy. There's another big issue there. We as a fan base need to be united. If we want the board, Enoch, Levy gone, we need to be united. Exactly like you said, whether you're Ange in, Ange out, doesn't matter. You need to be Levy out, Enoch out, and clear that board out of our club. Get out.
Philly, let me just ask you. Go on, Philly.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask
please,
you.
go ahead, Sam.
I was going to ask you. Given that, though, you know they're unlikely to be going anywhere anytime soon. If you're the chairman of Tottenham now, what do you do in this current situation? Are you sticking with Ange, or do you think enough's enough?
This is why, of all times, this is when we need fans to band together. There should be a place in our tent for every opinion, so long as you understand some pressure needs to be put on the ownership, because the ownership is backed into a corner. They can't do anything. If they don't want to spend money, they can't sack Ange and they can't buy players. Mm-hmm. We're all stuck in this together. And who is the Pied Piper who led us here?
Yeah, there you go.
You know, I didn't want to sack Pochettino. I didn't want to sack Mourinho. Yeah. I didn't want even Conte. I thought he was saying a lot of the same things that I hear on the Irish Hotspurs channel. Conte said the players need to take accountability. I hear that from a lot of fan channels. And I thought at that point, Levy could stand up and make a statement. If you backed a manager after such an explosive press conference, you would be saying, okay, maybe he really does want the club to change. But he didn't. He wiped it clean as if ignoring that problem was going to make everything sunshine and roses. But we have dug ourselves in the hole. Instead of trusting Pochettino, who brought us to a Champions League final with a Winks Sissoko midfield. Instead of trusting Mourinho, where we had to suffer through anti-football, anti-Spurs football for an entire season and a half, just so that our payoff was cut 10 days beforehand of the chance to win a final. And that could be a successful project. Instead of it. Oh, okay, my bad. I thought we got box office in the building.
Yeah, someone said, can you mute him in the background?
Get the entrance music queued up, baby. We got box office in the building. But instead of trusting Conte, all of a sudden we are trusting Ange Postecoglou to get us out of a relegation fight. And I don't know about you guys, but on my playlist, I've got Mary J. Blige queued up. I'm going down because I don't see us winning the game.
Oh, I died. So, I'm going down with this ship.
White flag.
I
can put my hands up and surrender.
Oh, God.
Listen, but we have to band together. We've got to band together under these anthems. There's so many opportunities to bring people together. Listen, in Cleveland, Ohio, for 30 years, a small band of Native Americans protested the name of their baseball team. It was a racially charged nickname that the team had. For 30 years on opening day, there was protests. And these protests were maybe one person, maybe two people. At the height of it, maybe 100 people. But every year, opening day for 30 years straight, fans, listen to me, supporters, we do not need a 10,000 person protest. We just need a consistent message that brings fans from every opinion together to say that something big needs to change. Even if Ange gets sacked, We have to look at what the real problem of the club is. Even if he starts and we get a couple bargain bin transfers at the end of this window, we have to look at what the real problem is. We must band together. Calling out fans in a way to motivate them is one thing, but now is not the time to blame fans. Now is not the time to even blame Ange, insofar as he is the one who has led us here because someone hired him. But anyway, I think I know what the people want, and I'm going to get off of this call right here because box office is in the building. And Sim and Amir, I appreciate the opportunity. I'm a big fan of the channel. I just really want to try to encourage you guys to use your platform to keep asking these questions of the very few Levy inners that are left. What good football decision has Levy made? Yeah. Who has led us to this point where we can't sack a manager and we can't buy him players? What are we supposed to do?
Yep. You're bang on, Philly.
Absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on, Philly. Nice one. We'll speak to you very soon.
Thanks for the call, mate.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on.
Box office. Bring it home, baby.
Here we go. Here we go. Where is he? Oh, we've got Bobby K first. All right. Spoilers for later, but let's get Bobby K on first. It's Bobby K. It's Bobby K. It's Bobby K. That song is getting progressively more and more depressing as the season's going on. It's more monotone. And at the beginning, it was like, it's Bobby. Now it's like, it's Bobby K. But anyway, Bobby.
I blame Levy, though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave and I'm going to come back in so you guys can try again because that was absolutely dreadful. The only reason I even came on the show was to hear that and put myself in a better mood. So, guys, honestly, I know, Amir, I haven't seen you in a long time, Sim. I haven't spoke to you in a while either. But, guys, a little bit better. Come on. That performance was almost as bad as what I saw on the pitch today.
Mate.
We're trying. We're trying, Bobby.
Just open the boys. Come on. It's game day.
It's Bobby K. It's Bobby K. It's Bobby K.
Come on.
Come on, Bobby.
Come on, Bobby. Come on. That's it.
Come on, Buffalo Bills.
Talk us through it, Bobby. Talk us through it.
Well, first off, boys, great to see you. It's been a long time, and I get to officially say Happy New Year to you. God bless you and your families. I wish you all the very best because we all wish it is depressing. So, I'm normally the deluded happy clapper. I try to find some good. I always try to find some silver lining. I have absolutely none. There was a question that Philly was just asking about one good footballing decision that Levy's ever made. I can say the only one that I think was actually a brilliant and great decision on his part was showing what a cheap shit he can be and not buying Benteke, which forced us to start playing Harry Kane, and we saw how he ended up going. So that's the one thing we give credit for. Other than that, yay. Where do we start, boys? Davies starting at left center back when Gray has been pretty much playing at center back for the last little while and filling in. Let's move him yet again from a position he's been comfortable in. You look at that second goal, Dragishin or Gray, Davies, neither of them pushed forward and attacked the guy. Both of them kept backing up, giving him shooting lane. I wonder if Gray was there, he might have been a little bit more aggressive and actually pushed forward, knowing that Dragishin was there. He's been playing in that position. You're hoping he's at least learned a little bit better. He's grown in it. That decision is down to Ange. It's Richie. The guy scored, and he's come off now. He's got fire in his belly. His son's been poor. I switch Richie. That's on Ange.
He said he had to. He said he just couldn't run anymore.
Yeah, that's the injury situation, Bobby, with Richie, I think.
He said he couldn't run anymore because it didn't look like a guy that went to sit down with his body language and his facial expressions. That didn't look like a guy to me that came up to his manager and said, I can't give anymore.
That's true. That's also true.
I think that's utter horseshit. Sorry to say, guys. I know what's language.
You think he wanted to take Richie off?
Yeah. I think that was his decision. Wise Matter's not playing. He's picked up a minor knock. Same thing with Sarr, but Sarr played. So we've heard this rumblings about there's some sort of issue between Madison and Postecoglou. Is it true? We really won't know. You know, God knows your media over there is fantastic at making stuff up. I don't know for black and white, so I can't really say. It's in a gray area. If there's truth to that, it makes you wonder how is he treating the squad properly. I look, to me, I started pushing and looking towards the Ange out thing and seeing that he is actually beyond where he should be with the Austin decision. Brandon Austin finally got his first start after, what was it, 9 years, 7 years? 9 years, right? And he comes on and has a man of the match performance. This is a guy that wasn't given a sniff at all until he had to put him in. He absolutely had no other choice. And the guy comes up, shows a man of the match performance. To me, that shows me that he doesn't know his squad. If he's not putting trust in these guys and seeing what they're doing and their abilities, does that, in a youth project then, does that not hurt players? Does that not cramp their development? We're forcing players to play out of position. We're overtraining players when we're already slim. Who's overtraining the players? That's not Levy on the pitch doing that. That's Ange doing that. Again, that's down to Ange. I look further then, and it's you see the Dorrington. We were already short on center backs. We send Dorrington out on loan. You're going to tell me if Ange is sitting here saying that I have all the decisions and final say on player personnel ins and outs. So again, that's on Ange then. The things I turn around and push to Mr. Levy is that Conte is sitting in first. Mourinho is sitting in second. Nuno is sitting in third. Is the manager the problem? These guys have all gone elsewhere and been able to achieve success. Nuno, in fact, taking a step backwards, went to Saudi first, and I believe he won the league or he won the trophy there. And then came back to England. The managers are the problem. There's a higher up, and I sit here and I think, I've always kind of been, I don't think you're going to get Levy out because there's absolutely no reason for that guy to leave. Because 60,000 of us hate him, 100,000 of us come on YouTube and talk nonsense about him and say how much we hate him. That guy is laughing all the way to the bank every single day. That's not going to change. You guys got to put the target higher up. There is a man sitting on a yacht somewhere that probably didn't even watch this game today that owns the club and has put these power people in their positions. He's got to go. That's where it's got to start. That the trickle-down effect is further up than Levy as far as I'm concerned. The mismanagement of our entire club comes from further up because who's making those big investment decisions at the end of the day? I don't doubt Levy needs approval from Lewis to say that, yeah, you know what, let's invest $500 million into a hotel now. Let's spend money here. Let's do this. Let's do these cards. Let's generate revenue because that's what's important. We all are at a point collectively as a fan base. I know there's some of you out there that are still holding on to some delusion like I try to, that we believe. I'm still going to always believe. I'm still always going to support my club no matter who's in charge, no matter who's on the pitch. When that whistle is blown and the game starts, there's nothing I can do to change that. So I will support that club, what's out there, because that's what we have to do as fans. In terms of changing what's out there, that's where the big question comes. We've heard several different options. 5,000 people at a protest, 10,000 won't make a change. Some say it will, some say it won't. We're saying an empty stadium. But now there's a question I want to ask you guys, because I know you will know the answer to this. What is the waiting list on season tickets? Because I've heard it's close to 200,000.
Yeah, it's a
well, it's hard to say because anyone that signs up for a gold membership automatically gets put on the season ticket waiting list. So there's a lot of people who will sign up for a membership with no intention of getting a season ticket just to be a member. But I think if you add up all the memberships, it's probably close to that number. Yeah,
it's over 200,000.
Probably, yeah,
it's over.
So we've got a mass majority of people waiting for people to protest and leave the stadium and not want to come back. And are they waiting in the wings, hoping that actually happens? Hoping that we actually go down, hoping that we actually get relegated? I never want to see my club relegated. That to me would be painful. You never want to have that happen. But it's honestly, guys, I just don't have the answers. And it's sad that as a collective unit, all of us as Spurs fans, a lot of you intelligent, and then some of us that don't have as much footballing knowledge, but we just support them. We can't unite and find a front that is either digital, because those of us that are sitting abroad, like myself here in Canada, we can't obviously attend protests. It's not an option. Is there some sort of digital protest that can be done? Is there other things that can be done? The social media pushes. What, as a collective unit, and this is where I push it onto the trust, should they not be the ones collectively putting everything together, uniting the fan base in one common goal? Why have we been fractured? We can't sit here and just point the finger at Levy and Ange and Lewis even and say that they've allowed us to become fractured, or they have fractured us. We've allowed it.
True.
We've let it go. We've said, you know what? Go ahead, fracture us. Let's fight each other on here.
Yeah, Bobby.
Let's hate each other as Spurs fans. You know,
I'll go even further than that, Bobby. We fall for it hook, line, and sinker every 18 months. Every manager change, we argue with each other whether they should be in, whether they should be out, who we want in next, But really, in reality, it doesn't matter any of that stuff. It doesn't matter. You could change the Ange Postecoglou with Areola. You think Areola will do any better? You think he'll bring success to this club?
For a short period, we saw Ange come in and run and start off put us all into position. We were dancing in the streets 10 games in.
Yeah, it's 10 games though. It's 10 games, Bobby. That's a manager bounce. Yeah, after when it gets to the run into the season, when it gets to the cup finals, when it gets to the semi-finals, when it gets to crunch time, we fall away every time because we don't have the squads that the Liverpools have, that the Cities have, that I hate that I'm even going to say this, that the Arsenals have. We don't have it. It hasn't existed for us for the last 20 years. We've never been that strong. We've never had the strength in depth that those sides have. There's a reason for that.
Yeah, we know what the reason is.
Yep.
But what do we do to change that reasoning and that mentality? Because right now, I honestly, I applaud Daniel Levy. I think this guy is a much bigger villain than Thanos, than Bane, than any superhero villain that's ever come out in the universe. This guy has lined his pockets and created an investment opportunity for someone out there that's got the money to just come in and make more money and not even have to worry about the initial investment, what the initial investment actually was, a football club.
Mm-hmm.
That scares me, guys. Like, I know a lot of us sit here and say, Levy out, Lewis out, and everything. I am actually terrified of what the next element comes in is, because when we're looked at right now by somebody, they are definitely not coming in and saying, I'm buying Tottenham Football Club because they excite me. I want to watch them play and I want to go watch them win trophies. They're going to look at the checkbooks. They're going to look at that balance sheet and they're going to say, we can make how much? This is a great investment. And that terrifies me because it's what's worse, the devil you know or the one you don't kind of thing. And again, I'm not going to sit here and say that I know the ins and outs of this club. Most of this stuff I've learned thanks to meeting a lot of you guys in the YouTube community and stuff and speaking to other fans there. But it's now you guys know me personally. Mm-hmm. I'm consistently happy, or at least try to be and fake it when I can. I'm broke right now, boys. It is Sunday afternoon at 1:30, and I am absolutely busted right now. By now, we're talking 2 hours after almost 3 hours after the game. I'm going to say fine by now. I've refocused my energy into my family, into things I'm doing. It's Sunday. I'm home. My kids are home, stuff like that. I want to play video games with them. I want to go, watch one of them beat me in FIFA or something like that. And I don't even want to do that right now, honestly, fellas. I'm just so gutted, as you guys would say. And I feel for my brothers and sisters and everybody else here that's a Spurs fan as well, because it's like we have so much anger and frustration built up in us when this is supposed to be a source of passion and joy.
Exactly.
And that flip, the fact that Levy was able to create that flip, that to me just makes me wonder what is truly inside of this man that he can allow this to continuously happen. We are at January 26th. We got 4.5 days left, and we've done absolutely nothing other than say we're going to do nothing. It's depressing, boys. You know how hard it is to get motivated then for the next game. I've credit to the people that still can, because I'm hoping I can. I really am. This has been so heartbreaking. But again, I pose the question to you: what can be done? I asked the people in the chat. You guys know more than I do. You know, I know a lot of people. I see your comments in the chat. You're so knowledgeable. Maybe you're not comfortable with coming on the screen and stuff. I get that. Not everybody is. But I wonder what can truly be done. You fellas have any idea?
I'll give you, Bobby, from my knowledge of football, the only kind of parallel that I can see in the last 20 years of where we're at is where Newcastle were at with their owners, Mike Ashley. Yeah, he was basically using their club as a vessel to promote his other businesses, Sports Direct, and that was the main. That was the main point of him basically having that football club. He didn't care whether they won anything, where they were in the league. It was just a vessel for him for advertisement, basically. And Newcastle, because Newcastle were united as a fan base, they got together, they protested. It took a hell of a long time. I believe it was, 6 or 7 years?
Took a while. Well, but as in, I don't think it's because they protested. He waited till he got the best price. That was the reality.
Yeah, but they applied pressure, right?
They did, but he didn't sell until he got the right price.
Okay, but they were applying pressure on Mike Ashley for many years.
They only took over in 2021, the new guys, and Mike Ashley was the new manager, was the new chairman in 2008. So,
yeah, it's a long time.
It's a long time.
It's a long time. But then again, protests.
But how discouraging is that for you guys to sit here and even say that it would possibly take potentially 6 to 7 years of protesting from right now?
They're only going to sell once they get the right price. That's the reality. Sure. And that's the same with Mike Ashley. It doesn't matter all the pressure. If there was no pressure on him, he probably still would have sold, but only when he got the right price.
But you can apply the pressure, Sim. If you have people at that stadium calling for your name and hounding you every single second that you're there, he will feel that. Whether it's Ange in, whether it's Ange out, whether he goes and spends 150 million now on 3 players, if the fans are united in one voice against him and Enoch and Joe Lewis and everyone else at the top of this football club, they will start to feel the heat the same way they felt the heat before Conte came in and the stadium turned toxic.
All right, Bobby, look, we got to move on, but I'm just going to let you know. We're going to clickbait your call with I applaud Daniel Levy, and that'll be the title.
Oh, dude, no. 100%. We want Levy in. Say we want Levy in.
Lovely, Bobby. Always good to see you, mate.
I'm sorry I couldn't be my usual happy self, and I apologize.
Don't blame me. Don't blame me, Bobby.
Big up to you boys. Much love to everybody. Much love to everybody in the chat that's a Spurs fan. All we can do is, in the words of the great Ted Lasso, still believe. Have a great day.
Come on, big up, Bobby.
That was Bobby K. And now here he is. We hinted that he was in the back end before. It's now his time to shine. It's Mr. Box Office. Let's get him on. Boof. Alex, you there, bro?
Yeah, I'm here loud and clear.
Yeah, loud and clear.
I'm here loud and clear. And
I'm ready to tell some truth.
Well, unfortunately, truth hurts, like I said before. And you're going to see
lies
people
worse,
in the chat
Alex.
now going,
the truth hurts, the lies worse.
hating us at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Absolutely hating the show at the moment because the main events turned up. Maybe their nightmares turned up. You know what I mean? People say that I'm actually happy. I'm absolutely fuming. Absolutely fuming because I actually predicted someone that supposedly is an Arsenal fan, which is an actual joke, you know what I mean? Because you can't be honest about your team without anybody calling your names and all under the sun, you know what I mean? Because you can't be honest about your team. I said we needed to win this game. I said we're going to win this game because Leicester have not won in how we haven't won under Van Nistelrooy. We've actually now given their first win, I think, which is absolutely embarrassing in my opinion.
Second win.
Oh, is it the second win?
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I got that wrong. But you know. For me, I have to highlight. I mean, Andrew's always the wrong man, and he was always the wrong man in the first place because he's not a guy that's he's a win now manager, which is exactly what we had with Mourinho and Conte. and the fact that he doesn't use that many young players, and I'm sorry, I don't really count Archie Gray and Bergvall. He was forced to play them. He was forced to play them, as far as I'm concerned. And you can see now they're playing okay, but that's not good enough because you need your experienced players coming to the fore. And one player I've got to look at right now, who I think is an absolute embarrassment as far as I'm concerned, is Bentancur. Bentancur in that midfield is absolutely embarrassing today. Absolutely embarrassing today. I saw a midfield of Harry Winks who came back and he shown him how to play in midfield. How embarrassing is that? Kudus, what his name is, whatever his name is. He was getting past his man, getting past our midfielders easily, especially in that second half. You know what I mean? The first half was okay for a standard team as far as I'm concerned. But I mean, where's the grinding result? We're in a relegation battle at the moment.
Yep.
We are in a relegation battle at the moment, and where's the grinding? Don't get me started on Ange because I don't want to repeat what I said. I've said it on Mr. Box Office TV, and you got a treat on Mr. Box Office TV. You know what I mean? Because I'll be telling you what I've been saying after the game, which is going to be raw and to the point. But honestly, I'm bored of this. I'm bored of this. I've been just immune to it. I've just been not even thinking about getting that mad. Because why am I getting mad? Because I said it. I've been saying this for the last 5 years. It's getting boring now. You know what I mean? But today I lost it because I sat there and thought I've been holding it in too long. Because one, I get abuse. Don't really care because I'll eat that up all day long and just say, if you don't know, get to know. Mr. Box Office will eat that up all day long and just come back in your face and say, what happened? What's that? See what's going on right now. See what's going on right now. You know what I mean? But like, it's absolutely embarrassing. You can't beat a team like Leicester. Everton are 1 point behind us. Let that sink in. 1 point behind us. And the only reason why we're not specifically in trouble is because the teams below us at the moment in the bottom three can't get by a win. The only team that's done it is Leicester City. That really, I'll give Leicester credit. They turned up. We did it in that second half. And I don't care whether you're tired. You know what I mean? You knew exactly what you're getting into this season. You knew exactly. There are seasoned professionals there that play Europe internationals, and you're telling me that they didn't know what was coming on this season. Oh, we've only got recovery after the European games. Oh, really? It's not like you haven't known that before. Top teams know this already. It's an excuse. And that's for this manager that is getting so much excuses, right? Because now we're talking about Daniel Levy, not everyone else was talking about Daniel Levy, because let's be honest here, Brian, who's on this show, was talking about Daniel Levy, he gets abuse. Stelios was talking about Daniel Levy, he gets abuse. But now it's the cool subject now, and now they don't get the credit. So I had to mention their names because they get abuse all the time.
They've been on the show, don't worry.
No, but I'm saying as well, by the way, Sim, right? One thing I will say about you, right, is that you do backhand, but you did give me football opinion. And I did give you a text saying, you know what? I'll give you credit. Yeah, I don't agree with you, but at least you give me a football opinion why you want to keep hands. So I'll give you that. Don't get used to it though, bruv. Don't get used to it though, bro. Yeah, just
I want some credit every week from you, Alex.
You know what I mean? You know it's never personal with me and you. It's always football. You know it is. You know what I mean? You always stick to Mr. Box Office, even though Amir as well. Because even Amir, you know what I mean? We do have some very good football conversations. You know what I mean? Even if we don't agree, and that's it. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
So this is never personal. But it's just embarrassing. We're talking about Daniel Levy now, when really he should be doing more with this squad. And people are starting wondering, why are we not buying any players? What do you think? Because look at the injuries. Do you think any player want to come to this squad? No, and seeing some of the young players absolutely on their feet.
Oof.
On their feet. Sitting there, do I really fancy this? It's who we are, mate, from Ange Postecoglou.
Alex, tell me something. Is this Leicester defeat the straw that broke the camel's back and Ange is gone within the next 24 hours?
To be, bro.
Yeah.
It has to be. But the problem is at the moment, Amir, and this is where I think Ange is winning it at the moment. This is where Daniel Levy and Scott Munn and everyone's got to blame. I don't think they've got an idea who they want to replace him with. I think Mason's going to be in charge. I think that's even worse.
That's what I think, Alex. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I think that's what's coming.
Would you, Alex, if I gave you a choice, Mason till the end of the season or stay with Ange, what are you choosing?
I would get rid of him and to put Mason in charge, but I think that's even worse though, to be honest with you, because at the moment I just don't see a plan.
Worse, why would you do it? If it's even worse, why would you do it?
I just think Ange has just got no plan. He's got no idea. But you said
you
had
Mason
to give me,
worse,
you gave me a choice.
Yeah. But you said you want Mason, but you think it'll be worse. So if you think it'll be worse, why would you do it?
I just think Ange has completely lost it, unfortunately. And but the thing is, though, you only gave me a choice, and unfortunately, I would take a chance with Mason at the moment. I would take a choice.
Surely you'd only do it if you thought it would be better.
Yes, but unfortunately, at the moment, doesn't look like it's getting. It doesn't look like they're picking up at all. They're not. The thing that is, they're not grinding out results. That's the worry, and the manager's not talking like he's in trouble. He's not talking like it anymore. He's not talking like it. Another thing as well, I think we need to talk about one person as well that wasn't on the pitch today that said that he was injured. It's interesting, Maddison, and I'm trying to say this in a very diplomatic way because I don't want to start looking like I'm accusing anybody of it, but it's interesting Maddison wasn't in the team today. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm not going to say, I'm not saying that he's not injured, but it's interesting. Sarr turned up and he was a doubt. Maddison didn't. I won't say any more than that because I don't want to look like I'm accusing him of anything. You know what I mean? Sorry, I don't want you getting in trouble because this is the faults of this is my faults now. You know what I mean? So I just want to just clarify that. But it's interesting, isn't it? You know what I mean? I'm not having a go at him. I'm just saying it. Who's been under scrutiny so long? Who's been under scrutiny? Maddison. Right? Who's been who's been out the team? Maddison. You know what I mean? I think there's behind the scenes. I don't think it's all rosy. I don't think it's all rosy, to be honest with you.
Neither do I, Alex.
And I think it's becoming a situation where, you know what I mean, you've got to start making decisions. And this is where I've heard on the grapevine that we're linked with Allegri. Now, if that is the case, that's worrying because we're not learning. I think everyone knows we're better with coaches at the moment. You know what I mean? I don't think I saw Mikey Moore today. He's trying his best. Yep. He's running at his man. But this is not an environment for a young player right now. I see Landshear coming on late in the match. What is the point in doing that to a young player, bro? When you're trying to chase a match, you might as well keep Richarlison on. He should have came on a long time ago, Landshear. You know what I mean? You know, the fact that Archie Gray was okay, Burval was okay, but unfortunately, it's not good enough because this is not the environment for a young player. I'm sorry if I'm freezing because I think I'm freezing on the screen.
It's all right, but Alex, we're running out of time, so we got to wrap this up. Unfortunately, but it's really good to speak to you as always, mate. Appreciate you calling in, and we'll speak to you soon.
Take care, Alex. Guys. Big up, Alex.
Nice one, Alex.
Enjoy your week, mate. Take care.
Nice one. Yeah, I think we've been streaming for too long. System's starting to break down. Everyone's sick of the situation.
Sick of Dr. Tottenham. That's what it is.
Maybe our computer needs a doctor. But look, appreciate everyone for the stream. Amir, thanks for coming in and all the drama, experiencing all the drama and all the craziness today. It's another embarrassing defeat for Tottenham Hotspur. But we'll be back tomorrow. Ben will be back in the studio. You'll be hearing from him about today's defeat. And look, we'll see what happens with Spurs over the next few days before the next European game. Big games coming up. Big decisions to be had for Tottenham Hotspur as well. So appreciate everyone in the chat. Appreciate everyone supporting the channel today. Let's hope for better days ahead. Like, subscribe and comment.
Amen to that, Sim.
And as always, come on, you Spurs.